Bonjour, everybody. Welcome to the inaugural episode of our very new show, Rolling in the Isles. I hope this evening finds everybody well, and very well finds them. I believe it's time to introduce the official team. Shall we take it from the top? Aiden, you're up first.
Oh, okay. Hello, everybody. Here should know me. Aiden Paladin, of course. Shouldn't need an introduction on this channel, but hello all. Next up, Mark.
Greetings, comrades. It's me, Mark. Everyone's least favourite, worst communist. So, thanks for having me on. Like, I'm excited. Looking forward to hanging out with some new friends.
Yeah, thanks for joining us, man.
Oh.
Always a pleasure to have some new meat, faces. Han, if you would be so kind.
Hello, I'm Han. No one of note and monotone extraordinaire.
Penny?
The one
If you
living
indulge.
in Han's basement that cooks. Hello.
Are very talented resident artists.
I
And
guess.
last, but by no means least, Oozlo, if you would be so kind.
Greetings, friendos. How dare you imply I'm not least? I am the least bad. As you can see, the chat on the YouTube video is replete with Cabal Prevails, as indeed it does.
And I myself am Deep One Bill. Bill for short. I'll be DMing this little establishment and walking some new people through character creation for the very first time. Some here are a little bit more acquainted with the, well, quirks of the Pathfinder first edition system that we will be using for this evening. Quirks the same way that, say, Amber Heard has quirks. And by quirks, I mean soon to be convictions. I'm just quite joking, of course. No one on the Paizo team has ever had convictions, legal or otherwise, as far as I'm aware, for legal reasons. So,
Allegedly.
in Minecraft. Be that as it may. It falls to us now to put together our little squad here. It's going to be going through a myriad of adventures, criminal and otherwise. Like, for legal reasons, it being this early in the episode, I think we'll stick to describing it as heroic. Stretching definitions is par for the course these days. We can get away with calling them heroic. Be as it may. If I shall now take us over to the what I'd like to call placeholder campfire, where we cook up all our misdeeds. As you can see, we have some detritus collecting around the bottom of the campfire stones, so don't ignore most of them. They're there just as an example of play. I'm sure it won't come up again. Be that as it may. We'll have to walk you through the Pathfinder system by and large. But first, the inaugural concept for each person's character. Those of you at home may wish to try and join in. Give some if, for instance, you think you have an idea if someone might enjoy, go ahead, throw it in the comments or in the super chats or what have you, whatever you prefer. And maybe, just maybe, get to influence some influences back for a change. Before I get to the torturing. So, with that in mind, let's take us over to... Should we start with the character sheets? If you go onto your character profiles, you should have one each, I believe.
Yep.
You will find yourselves the proud owner of a character sheet that has a whole array of options. I would suggest for the time being going to edit sheet directly. We could go for the character mancer, but we'll burn that bridge when we come to it, I suppose. I shall be walking you through this with my very own character, which I don't know. Captain Placeholder.
Wait a minute. I'm already confused. Where's this at? In the journal?
In the journal section, yes.
Okay, well, when I click on mine, there's nothing I can do.
1 moment.
Should have tabs at the top. Bio and info is selected by default, and then next to that's character sheet. Click on that and then do edit character sheet directly.
I don't have any other.
Hang on.
It's just the one tab.
Not sure then.
You can try that. Try now. So for some reason yours didn't save properly.
That's all right.
Apologies, that technical issue
All
as
right.
usual. Pathfinder.
No problem. There we go. Now I'm good. Okay.
Okay. Now for those at home, we'll probably be seeing Penny's character sheet at this juncture. I will be offering up my own little example Captain Placeholder as an example of play. You will know him by his cassowary image when it loads finally. You should all have access to Captain Placeholder. As you can
Captain,
see,
at his age and of his species, that's impressive.
he is a veteran of the Emu Wars themselves. I wouldn't worry, folks. There aren't going to be any Australians online at this time of night, so we won't run into any sectarian issues.
Bogans.
We've got bogans, we've got rifles, we've got arquebuses, we've got crossbows and bows and all bows and thereafter. We've got the whole shebang here, folks. Be that as it may. First things first. Your character stats. These will kind of pigeonhole you as you go, kind of give you a nudge as to where you wish to go. In order to roll them, it'll be a very simple process. Go over to the text box, type in /r space 4d6d1. What this will roll is 4d6, 4 6-sided dice, and will drop the lowest result. That's d1. Now, for character stats, yeah,
Just to show you.
some here. We'll be each going one by one and rolling 6. We will not be doing them in order as you are new to the game, and that would be needlessly cruel, though entertaining. Be that as it may. We shall take it from the top, each person in turn. Aiden, as the alphabetically most commensurate person here, you'll be up first, and you already rolled a 17, off to a rolling good start. Your stats, you could usually be looking to get between a usual range of 8 to 8, all the way up to 18, really. Obviously, you can roll lower if you're very unlucky, but we shall be seeing where that goes. Now for the other 5 stats, Aiden, if you would. Just if you want to repeat it, you can just hit the box, hit up, and hit enter again, and it will repeat it. Now, I'm not sure if any of you, I believe, usually you may play a little bit of 5e.
Yeah, but that's pretty much all I've done. I never played Pathfinder.
Don't worry, use your stats the same way. Pretty much.
And I've only played one campaign of 5e of more than one session.
That's usually how much people play before they get sick of it.
Oh yeah, no, I already know I don't like it. I've only bothered playing it for the other people that I'm playing it with.
Okay, so let's condense these down. Okay, so we've got 17, a 15, a 10, a 17, a 12, and 11.
Meh. Oh, well.
Pretty damn good.
Yeah.
2 17s is nothing to be sniffed at. As usual, to find this, as we, for instance, let's say we went over here to my good friend Captain Placeholder, and we punched a 17 into strength. As you calling it home. You'll find it gives a modifier of 3, given that the base value of a stat is 10. The average Joe Commoner has a 10 in every stat. Maybe a 12 here and 8 there, depending on their raise. 10 is completely remarkable, by and large average, for any place. For every 2 a score goes up, it bumps up by 1 the modifier. Similarly, when it goes down by 2, so everything works in 2s here, the modifier is what the dice is changed by. So if I wanted to roll to lift something heavy and roll strength, I would roll as such. A 15, as you can see, from a 12, as I have a strength score of 17, take off 10, divide by 2, gives you 3.5. You always round down. Thus, you get a modifier total of 3, as listed in the column there. So 12 plus 3, 15. That's the total of the score. That's with all. That is the same with any kind of stat checks. There are other modifiers, such as if you're attacking, each class has a variable amount by which they increase their attack rolls. This is called a base attack bonus. Those of you from earlier editions will know it as THACO and will cringe physically from the mention of it. But if you played the Baldur's Gate, you'll probably be familiar with THACO. It's equivalent of proficiency in 5th edition. 5th edition, it tends to build up slowly over time, up to, say, a +5 by level 20. In Pathfinder, your base attack bonus can go up every level in some classes, and the lowest it goes up by is every other level with the casters. This isn't 5e, where Joe Blogg's wizard can swing around a sword with pretty much the same proficiency as a full fighter if they happen to spec right. Admittedly, at later levels it gets to be a bit different in that regard too, because of how scaling works, but as it may. So please make a note of those stats: the 17, the 15, the 10, the 17, 12, and 11. Because when time comes, we'll be arranging those to figure out what your stats will be. Now, let's continue. Next up, Mark, if you would be so kind. That is /R space 4d6d1. Then just hit the box and hit up, and it should repeat it.
Also, we just got our first super chat in from Zalmas, saying, "Here's some free chicken. Low rolls are re-rolled at Bill's discretion."
Ooh.
Ah, excellent.
Thanks,
There's
Zalmas.
a 7 I just see.
That's a 6 and a 7. Welcome, Mark. It seems that our good friend Zom has saved your bacon here. Could you re-roll the 6 and the 7, please?
That was for the 6. Oh, +1.
Thank you, Zalmas. Very cool.
Thank you, sir. Now, you have one rule in place, which I've kind of brought in from my old buddies, which is, for a character, you may take an 8 in a stat, and in return for that low stat, you're allowed an 18 in another. Now, given the circumstances, Mark, you are at a rare advantage of having 2 bad stats. So it's up to you. If you wish to take that 7 up to an 8 and then take an 18 somewhere else because of the technical rules exploit, and it was absolutely your prerogative. Or you could play the low stat. That's up to you.
I'll be shitter. It's better for the story, innit?
That's the spirit. A secret test of character is passed. Okay. Han, if you'd be so kind.
Sure thing.
And please do make note of these numbers, folks. They will be terribly important. Solid stats. One really good one. A couple low ones.
Very comfortable around the average.
Yeah. Workable. And certainly avenues for the 8 and 18 if you were starting inclined for something a bit more extreme in range. Okay. Those all rolled. Penny, if you'd be so kind.
I rolled it right, I hope. Yes. And as I'm rolling, there's another super chat, this time by Cafe, saying, "And here's a free standard fishing rod for everyone, free of charge."
Everyone starts with a fishing rod in this campaign. Doing well for yourselves. Tell you what,
I like it when everyone receives free stuff.
one must be fair in these things. tell you what.
Thank you, Cafe.
Thank you
Very
very much, Cafe.
cool.
A long-standing friend of the group, so to speak. Okay. Penny, would you like to just roll another whole batch, or
Uh,
we'll get to the end of the set, and we'll make sure everyone gets a whole new batch as well, so they can
Yeah.
pick between the two.
I'll just quickly type out my results and I'll continue.
And then at the end, we can review what is considered a low stat based on the curve, and then we can reroll from there.
There you go.
Okie dokie. I will stay myself. I don't need to roll. So, Oozlo, if you'd be so kind.
Ah, yes. Alright. 46D1, yes?
Yes.
It's /R, right?
Yep. With a space.
How many times?
Yeah, total of 6.
Oh, that's a terrible set.
Well, on the plus, usually there will be another batch each, so you can choose between them, and then from there we can grade on a curve as to who has rerolls. Okie dokie. So once again, from the top, once who's got that all written down, Aiden, if you would be so kind.
Yep. Well, I'm sticking with the first one.
Note it down all the same, just in case.
Yep.
Mark, once more with feeling.
One.
Not just our first 18 of the evening,
Yeah.
but all 6s on that roll. Good grief. Okie dokie. One, two. Mark, you got one more to roll?
Seems like I can't count. No, I've written them down. There is 5. Oh, yeah, but for a 7. 14.
Bargain. Okie dokie. Hard, your second set, if you would.
All right. Even more average. I'll stick with the first one, but I'll note it down.
Penny. If you would.
Yes. I think that should be 6. No, I'm slow.
I always have to like double check too.
Okay, note that one down. Again, there'll be there is a very good reason why the take an 8 for an 18 rule exists. It's occasionally common to see someone roll up basically slightly above commoner stats. Just how the dice roll sometimes. And Oozlo, your second set, please.
Alright, here's hoping this one does not suck as much. Not looking great so far. Oh, there we go.
Okay, there. Hey,
That's a little better, and one more.
hey,
That's a little better.
That's pretty good. That's pretty damn outstanding. Please note those down.
Oh god, where do I put them? I guess that we assign these to the stats to which ones
Yes,
later,
indeed.
so I'll just put them in notes for now.
Pop them in notes. But what we'll do now is we'll do another round down, and everyone post their 2 sets of stats on with a. You should enter to do a page break as usual. So, Aiden, both sets of your stats, please, on different layers.
Oh, different. My bad.
Well, it's worked out in the end, I think. Yep. Next up is Mark. Both sets of your stats on different lines, please. Han? About yours?
Yeah, give me a sec.
Penny? And Doozley, please. Okie dokie, you've got quite a wide variety here. Okie dokie. Again, okay. From these, pick one set, and if you wish to apply the rule that you can take one stat to an 8, in return, you may take another stat to an 18. We encourage people not to use this to get massive amounts of stuff. So
Can
if
I
you feel it's
change?
necessary,
Can I change my 8 to an 8? Get up to a...
yes, that is allowed. And similarly, if you rolled a 7, you can bump it up to an 8 and get 18. That's how the rule is written.
So which are we taking just one of these two sets of stats?
Yes, you would just be using one, whichever you
Alright.
prefer, but they must be taken as a set. They cannot be interchanged.
That's fine.
I contemplated bringing back the stat drafting system from the last time I played, or last time I DM'd, I should say, but that requires a team that's kind of got a few notches under the belt to really get their heads around. Also, it was deeply, deeply unsettling to watch. A bit like watching hyenas eat a carcass, but in stat form. Just everyone argued over the 17s. So once you've made the adjustments, yep, just post the singular line with the adjustments. Some of you will have stat adjustments based on your race, because some people have picked races already. Which brings us to our next point. Would we like to broach the matter? I believe we should broach the broader matter of concept before we go into classes and races. Because I believe concept is the most important core element here, and will guide everything else around it.
Sorry, I need you to hold my hand. I'm a little bit confused now. How are we coming up with this second batch of numbers?
Oh, this batch of numbers is just pick from 2 sets of numbers you got.
Yeah.
Pick whichever one you prefer. And
Alright.
if you have low enough stats to really warrant taking a stat to an 8
Yeah.
and another stat to an 18, you may do that. Once that's done, just take the new, refined, chosen line of numbers and put the bottom there and post.
I just post that.
Temptation to go with a character that has 18, 18, 18, 8, 8, 8 rises.
Oh, it's definitely viable. If you want to play King Mong of the Strongmen, you may definitely do so.
First
No.
game in this rule set, maybe I won't.
Yeah, honestly, you're only really meant to take one. You get 1 8 and 1 18. As funny as it would, if someone wants to go full, like Giga Chad no brain, or vice versa, like Reddit mod stats of all big brain, no physical. I use Reddit mod stats.
I think you're being far too generous to Reddit mods.
Just how they see themselves in the mirror.
Stats, that's what those are.
They kind of need that free stuff.
Yeah.
That's what they say about Jannies, eh? They do it for free. Be that
They
as it
do
may.
it for free.
Okie dokie. Some of you will have artwork already. Captain Placeholder certainly does. Be that as it may. Shall we go down the line? Has anyone got particularly strong ideas already prepped?
I asked this before streaming, it seems like everyone has a concept. I have most of a concept, perhaps I should go last.
Okay, shall we go down the line? If anyone's particularly hard up for ideas, this is our time to chime in with any suggestions or such that we have. That includes you at home. Aiden, what you get?
Yeah,
Shoshimi.
the basic character concept is I'm going to be an enlightened centrist and and spread the enlightenment of my utter centrism of taking no strong stances on anything as a power for good, I suppose.
Sounds an
So
awfully strong stance to take.
exactly. So in terms of I was thinking like kind of a little bit self-righteousy nun looking kind of, or crusader kind of looking character, in terms of the aesthetic, and I'm pretty sure I'm gonna go with the guru class. So, which
The guru.
can do these things.
The first of our
So,
Akasha users, there's going to be special rules for those.
yeah.
For those unfamiliar, Akashic users are able to manifest special magical items innately. In the case of the guru, they are all about enlightenment physically and mentally, and spreading peace and tranquility and all that bullshit.
Exactly.
I
And
think
enlightenment-
Toki from Fist of the North Star.
Mhm.
They able to conjure up weird bullshit as they wish.
So, Aidan, given that your character is a radical centrist, I assume that they believe in a governmental system that relies on the fairly distributed power of the electorate.
I think it will be. I'm not sure actually in terms of the political beliefs. I
That's
think it
the
will
spirit.
just always take the centrist position, whatever it on any kind of argument, whatever it is about. Figure out what everyone else thinks, and then find the middle.
The physical embodiment of the suggestion I had for Tim Paul, which was for the Times Square billboard, it should have just been his face
Yes.
in alabaster with maybe written over and over again behind it like Il Duce.
Exactly. Yes. Exactly. That's the
Make
idea.
sure to take an impossibly strong stance on something when you think it's going to go your way, and then rapidly change that as soon as it doesn't.
Right. Exactly.
Going a true radical centrist adventurer going out there into the world after all those January 6th protests won't avoid themselves. That's so a class concept. Any racial concept?
I didn't
Make your
have
next
any
words
idea
careful.
for it.
That's
No, I
the
didn't have any idea for it, so I was just assuming probably go with human, but
So what you're
I don't-
saying is you have no strong opinion either way.
exactly.
What could fill a man's
Human
heart from
seems
neutrality?
seems like the right race to go with for that, but
That most notoriously neutral race of all, humans.
okay, who's more neutral than humans, Bill?
Literally anyone else.
Okay. I guess that's. I was more going with it because it's a.
Dwarves would actually be a good pick for your class. Here's the major entanglement here. A class usually relies upon one or more stats in order to gain their abilities. For instance, a guru gains most of its abilities from the wisdom stat.
Mhm.
Because they're all about enlightenment and self-awareness. All that shit that most enlightened centrists tend not to have.
Most people on
Certainly
the
stru-
internet.
True.
Yeah. Wisdom in chronically short supply these days. But you find yourself in a great wealth of it. Probably someone else's. You have indeed Redlock.
Yeah, I mean, unless you have another suggestion.
I don't think Guru fits wonderfully. But
No, I mean
it's like-
for race.
for the race? Well, what are your main stats? As a guru, you're going to be doing lots of fighting, obviously. Maybe I should go down the stats for
I think
everyone.
I was thinking hand to hand
Okay.
for
If we
weapons.
turn our ice
There's
captain
some, like,
placeholder.
class that seems conducive for unarmed.
Okay. If we turn our eyeballs to captain placeholder stat sheet, you'll see he has 10s and everything, because he's a fucking emu. And we'll be going down the line to see what each stat really infers, because in Pathfinder the stats are a bit more crucial than they are in 5th. Strength score governs primarily how accurate you are in close combat with a heavy weapon, or even with light weapons if you prefer, as long as it is in melee, and also how much damage they do. So accuracy and damage both run on strength for the majority of weapons in melee. There are some weapons that allow you to use dexterity, but we'll burn that bridge shortly. There are skills that also are enhanced by the strength score. Primarily things like climb, swim, and that's pretty much it, I believe, for strength. It doesn't have a great deal of stats, of skills attached to it, at least in the base game. There are some other third-party ones like weightlifting and power grappling. And there are ways to make other things run on strength as well. For instance, there is a class that allows you to use ranged weapons with strength. Assuming they are heavy enough, of course.
Mm-hmm.
But that is the major aspects of strength. Next up, we have dexterity. Dexterity governs in quite a few things. A good number of physical skills, acrobatics, sleight of hand, being your ability to jump around, your ability to pick pockets, respectively. Dexterity also governs things like stealth, which is considered by many to be quite a crucial stat in certain campaigns, and others not so much. If most of the party is clanky paladins, you're probably not going to give much of a shit about how stealthy you are unless you're the designated scout. But similarly, there are things like escape artist and fly, both on Dex. Escape artist is your ability to wriggle out of handcuffs and chains. Fly is your ability to control things like hang gliders or magical wings. And some races do actually start with the ability to fly, such as the Strix, which is a variety of almost elven, like shaded-skinned harpy people that occupy the high mountains. Dex also plays into your armor class, much as it does in 5th edition. For each point of your modifier, your armor class goes up. This is capped by your armor type in something called a maximum dexterity bonus. This will come up later. However, also, more importantly, governs things like your touch armor class. So if a weapon or a spell hits you that ignores armor, it will run off of your touch armor class, which is the ability to touch your character. Anything that ignores armor, anything that conducts goes through that. So your regular armor will not count, but dexterity will, as will dodge bonuses and magical bonuses to armor class. But if you're flat-footed, such as you being surprised, dragged out of your guard, in some cases there'll be other effects that will also break your guard, such as particular martial arts maneuvers, or particular, such as being grappled by someone, will make you flat-footed, which is your armor class without your dexterity. So just your physical armor. We will broach armor class more broadly later.
Yeah.
Intelligence. Oh, yeah.
Captain just also put in I forgot how they're called.
$20.
But it basically says Aiden rolls randomly for race twice, takes whatever is preferred.
Cool. Okay.
Okay, here's the question. Let's go ahead and use the reincarnation table.
Also, sorry for cutting in an explanation.
Oh, no.
No problem at all. That actually simplifies matters in massively.
Oh, well,
Let's
I wanted you to
fancy. Use the extended table.
I wanted to build up and just go through it for everybody.
Yeah, it might be good to continue going through and then once done.
Intelligence. A very important stat these days. Much more than in 5th edition. In 5th edition, intelligence is just for when you want to be big brain.
Because there's not a lot of it in general, but yeah.
Not a lot to go around in real short supply. But intelligence in this game crucially controls the number of skill points you get each level, much like in Fallout. So the more modifier you get, every point of modifier is another skill you get and another language you know from the start. So all the knowledge skills run on int. Linguistics runs on int, which is your ability to learn new languages. A good number of other stats can be changed to run on intelligence as well, due to traits, which we'll get to later. Oh, stupid me. I forgot one crucial point of dexterity as well, which is it affects your initiative modifier, much like it does in 5th edition. That's completely my fault. That's intelligence. Returning to con, because I am blind and missed out. Constitution is a number of things. your ability to resist things like poisons with your fortitude, which will also get another bonus. We'll cover the saves as a separate block. It also governs the number of hit points. Every point of Constitution modifier gives you an additional hit point per level. This scales much like it does in 5th edition, though in Pathfinder, you always get a dice of hit points as well that you roll. At first level, it's maximized, of course, but in later levels, you always roll. 5th edition has a cap, and then you just start taking just con modifier. Here it is always a roll dice. It also governs a small number of skills, most of which aren't normally applicable. It's mainly physical skills like endurance and cardio. Other physical skills. Also, if you happen to have specific concentration as a skill, it also runs on Constitution. Primarily, it is, say, a save stat and a stat to give you more hit points, which can be very important in this game. We've covered intelligence. Wisdom. Another save stat. We'll get to those shortly. Also governs matters like survival, sense motive, perception. Perception is widely regarded as one of the god skills. You always want to have perception. That's why in 2nd edition they made it mandatory. You always got it. In this, it's an option. I've played characters without it. It is doable, but you have to know what you're doing. But wisdom, as it stands, governs your mental resilience and also your your ability to perceive and take in your surroundings around you, or your self-awareness and your spatial awareness. And finally, we have charisma, not a save stat as the other mental stat, as something like wisdom or con, but it governs all your social matters, bluffing people, which is of course lying, diplomacy, intimidation, handling animals, etc., training them. And for certain classes can be very key, such as paladins run entirely on charisma, pretty much.
It felt like you were making apologies for the rule set's shortcomings more than you were explaining it there.
Yeah. I'll have a full run.
Which is not a criticism of you by any means, and it's why I'm making my own rule set, partly.
There's plenty wrong with this, I can tell you, but it offers something that not a lot of systems have, which is the ability to play absolutely anything. And let's face it, no one's learning GURPS anytime soon.
There are two ways to do that. One is to define it all, and one is to build a system so robust that anything you want to create is easy to create.
Indeed. This is both and neither.
It sounds like it's mostly the first. Mine is the latter.
You can just about bodge together anything in this, and luckily I know enough about the different rule sets to be able to do so pretty well.
Yeah, that is the benefit and the upside to Pathfinder, as far as I can tell.
Yeah. Okay.
If you're willing to put up with it, you can do anything. That's what I hear.
Precisely. And that concludes the stats. Strength, as the old saying goes, strength is crushing a tomato, dexterity is juggling tomatoes, constitution is either carrying the tomatoes a long way or eating lots of them, intelligence is knowing the particular type of tomato, wisdom is knowing where to find them, and charisma is selling them to people. Easy way to find out. Wisdom can also be things like what not to do with tomatoes.
I feel like you had a...
Oh, sorry. I was going to make a joke. I was going to say, how does that make you feel?
I think we might have been about to make the same joke. I feel like you were an excellent opportunity there to go with the intelligence is knowing that a tomato is a fruit, wisdom is knowing not to put it in a salad.
Precisely. But I wasn't remembering that on short notice, let me tell you.
Of course, having 20 wisdom is knowing not to eat a salad.
And they're also, because of how crafting works, specifically in cookery, which runs off profession, which is a wisdom skill, is also knowing how to hide them so people will eat it all the same.
Without knowing. You find the tomato.
Be that as it may. Now, most races available to you.
Oh, right, yeah, you have the...
have a variation of some sort. They usually give a +2 to 2 stats and a -2 to another. You have three variables at work here. They also have a whole host of other weird bullshit that they get up to. Some can see in the dark. Some can only see in low light. Some are blinded by bright light. Some can fly innately. Some get bonus feats. Some get the ability to cast certain spells innately. Some have claws and teeth that they can use as natural attacks. Some are immune to a bunch of stuff, or get bonuses against certain things. Some races get racism-based combat buffs. Looking at you, dwarves and gnomes and halflings. I think halflings still get those. They may have shifted that over to a... Oh, the other thing. Some of them get free weapon proficiencies. For instance, an orc can pick, for the most part, can always pick up a battle axe and swing it into someone's face. Even a wizard. Even an orcish wizard. The few that exist because of their terrible, terrible intelligence score can swing a battle axe like the best of them.
Is it specifically axes, or is it like any improvised?
For orcs, it's falchions, battle axes, and one. I think maybe scimitars. I've got it right here. Hang on.
No, it doesn't really matter. I was just wondering if they basically could do improvised weapons if they had that built in.
Here you go. Orcs are always proficient with great axes and falchions, and treat any weapon with orc in the name as a martial weapon. We'll broach the matter of the types of weapon when we get to those, get to equipment. But I believe someone is rolling their race randomly.
Yeah, what do you want me to roll for? I don't know.
Roll me a percentile dice, please.
Oh, how do I do that?
Slash
R1.
D100.
Oh, yeah, D100. Okay.
It's also
The
on
data
the...
thought doesn't know what percent means.
No, I just don't know. True.
Usually, whenever you need to roll dice, you roll twice and choose between them. Okay, it's an 81 and a 46. Let's see what the dice hold for you. 81, an Oread.
What is that?
Oread are related to earth elementals and stone genies.
Oh, cool.
They are rock people. They get +2 strength, +2 wisdom, and -2 charisma, making them perfect for gurus.
Yeah, I was gonna say that. Already
And
sounds pretty good.
46, you never know, might be even better, because there are some bangers on here. Half elf. How unfortunate.
Yeah, Oread, you said it was?
Oread. Yes, I shall link them in the interior chat.
I think I'll go
Did
with
someone
that
say
one.
elf?
Half
Cock sleeve
elf.
or kindling?
Half
Cock
elf.
sleeve or
Worse.
kindling?
Fucking cultural runoff.
Oh yeah, I would have spelled this wrong.
The
Thanks.
56% elf.
Half elves are naturally charismatic, which is a good way to say they've had to argue their way into being people for an awful long time. Okay. Yep.
Yeah, that sounds
half elf.
perfect.
Okay.
Yeah, Oread.
Let's compare the two, shall we? It's the Oread. And here is the half elf, which technically I believe costs more race points. Those are more of a ephemeral thing for when you're making your own races. I wouldn't worry too much about those. But let's compare. A half elf gets to put a +2 in any stat of their choice. They do not get a second +2, but they don't get a penalty either. They get to put that +2 wherever they wish. This is what we call flexible stats. So they can bump any stat up by a full 1 modifier's worth of points. They are humanoids, so they are affected by spells that affect regular humanoids. And they count as both humans and elves. So 4/5 of a person. On a good day.
That's a compromise in their favour.
True. Be ready to get indulged in the well-known national sport of racism by both sides. Though, thankfully, you will be able to keep pace because you have a base speed of 30 feet, as usual. You have no size bonuses or penalties. You speak Common and Elven, and you may pick pretty much any language that isn't secret. You get to be immune to things like an elf, as an elf is immune to sleep, magical sleep, and gains a bonus of +2 on saving rolls versus enchantment and effects of that type. They are also adaptable. They get a bonus feat at first level of any skill focus feat. So if you take a skill focus feat, you get a +3 to a skill. We'll broach the matter of skills later. Keen senses. They get a racial +2 to perception because of their keen hearing and sight. They have low light vision. They can see twice as far as a normal human in dim lighting. They have other racial traits of elf blood, which is they count as both elvish and human for effects, and multi-talented. Half-elves choose 2 favoured classes at first level and gain their usual bonus in that class if you take a level in either. So if you wanted to be both a fighter and a rogue, you don't lose the favoured class bonus. Favoured class bonus is kind of like the no claims bonus on insurance. If you keep going into your favoured class, you'll get your choice of a special effect unique to your race class bonus, or you say class and race combination, or +1 hit point or +1 skill point. So you can be more robust and durable, or you can be a bit more skillful. This compares to the Oread. This is an example. Oreads are particularly strong and very mentally tough, so they get +2 strength and wisdom, but they're not very sociable, so they get -2 charisma. They are native outsiders, which means they aren't humanoids like most creatures are. They are made up of elemental matter to an extent, though they are still anchored to the world. So they can't be banished like regular outsiders, but they can't be affected by humanoid-only spells. But they can be affected by some outside-based spells. They are slow. They move at 20-foot move speed, rather than 30. They start speaking Common, which is a common language, and Terran, which is the speech of Earth elementals and other Earth-type creatures. They have an innate resistance to acid, so all acid damage is reduced by 5 points. This can negate an attack if it is less than 5. They can cast the spell Magic Stone once per day, with a cast level equal to their level, with a cast level DC of 11 plus their charisma modifier. Oh, that's mean. What the hell runs that? I think that's a misprint. That should be wisdom. They can see in the dark perfectly with dark vision up to 60 feet. And they have an affinity for the Earth bloodline, so their charisma is counted as 2 higher for all sorcerer spells and class abilities of that type. Oread clerics with the Earth domain use their domain powers and spells at +1 cast level. So if you have any Earth, but if you're a caster of an Earth type, you get bonuses. There are a myriad of other alternative racial traits that will swap out with one of these other ones. So, for instance, if you didn't want to be using Earth magic, you could pick Crystalline Form, which gives you a +2 racial bonus to armor class against ray attacks, so any kind of light ability.
Yeah, I think I want that Oread gem magic, just saying. I don't exactly... what is one
international jewelry rears
Yes.
its ugly head.
Yes, it
We'll owe
sounds
our
dope,
money at
though.
this rate. Thankfully you'll
Just
take him
from-
so long
from
to get
reading
back,
through
get the
them.
money around to him in time. So that, I believe you're going with the Oread, is that correct?
Yeah, I think so. It sounds fun.
Okay, I'm not sure if anyone wishes to join suit on the randomly rolled race, that is absolutely your prerogative, or you may choose one. Though it will matter to what class you wish to play. Guru. For a guru, strength and wisdom is ideal. Might be better to get dex, perhaps. But strength and wisdom, perfectly serviceable for a melee character with a strong need for wisdom.
Yeah, that sounds good to
It does
me.
mean your social skills will suffer somewhat. But that's never stopped us here before. I'm DMing,
Yeah.
for God's sake.
Yeah, I'm gonna go with the Oread, though.
So we have
So-
a radical centrist of the, I guess, Stoic school, given the circumstances.
Right.
Literally made out of rock.
Yep. That's cool.
So,
Yep.
Who else has a particularly strong concept? Or I'll leave it going. Now we've got stats involved, I suppose we can start
For some reason, I
thinking
can't
about
edit my
class race.
class and the character.
You should be
For
able
that,
to.
you have to go to
Edit.
Yeah,
Edit. Oh, if
edit.
you click that. Okay.
I think it might be under configuration. There
No,
you can
no, you should be-
find
you should-
class and also adjust the hit die for it.
Ooh,
No, you should be able to just click on the actual sheet and edit it there directly.
No, it's not
Not
working on
class.
our end. If you go under configuration, there you can find it. Where it says class 1, level 1.
Okay, hang on. Ooh, where's configuration? There we go.
Yes, I believe some things are derived and
That's cool.
they don't let you edit them directly.
No problem.
So yes, we have an Oriad Guru, basically a pseudo monk on our hands here.
Yep.
Okie dokie. With that sorted out. Does anyone else have any particular kind of character concept they've got in mind that they need help with? In terms of just realizing things. Because I can point you in the direction of the proper combination of class and race.
I do have at least half a concept. I think it needs a little more, some other element, but I have enough to start with. However, when I asked earlier, it sounded like everyone else had a concept ready. Maybe you should just go on the list and you get to me at the end.
Oh, certainly.
Sure. If it's either. I mean, like I said before, just that's the point of this too, is to figure out what everybody wants to do. So.
Do a little promo work. Okay. In that case, Han, I believe you have quite a strong concept in mind.
Yeah, alcoholic tavern keeper turned missionary and god botherer, basically.
Excellent. Any idea for the class and race?
Yep. Going to be playing a Grendel as far as race is concerned, and I'll class Dragon Scout, which is basically a jack of all trades, master of fuck all.
They're a bit like a bard, but more internal. Not so much about buffing the party as they are about gaining new skills themselves from what they do.
Yeah.
They're kind of they're a rare example of a class, what's called a reverse prestige class. Most prestige classes, you need to perform certain actions to get into it. Dragon Scout, you need to perform certain tasks to get out of it.
It's basically a more advanced version of a commoner.
Precisely. But quite versatile as a result.
Definitely.
As for the Grendel, Han, would you like to explain?
Yeah. So Grendel is basically half troll, half whatever the troll got its grubby hands on. Which, in my case, is the Celestial ASMR, which is the non-trademarked Chinese version of a half angel, I guess.
I believe the Celestial Azamar take their bloodline from Imperial dragons, or things.
Basically, at some point, some troll got his hands on the descendant of a dragon, and yeah. The result is an alcoholic tavern keeper who couldn't keep his job.
The important note here is Azamar, they're quite uncommon in the usual neck of the woods in Avestan of the setting. However, they are quite common in the Asian areas, as there is an entire nation of them, due to the Imperial Dragon bloodline being mixed into the local so much. As a result, there's quite a few people with Celestial Azamar blood. As a result, occasionally a troll gets their hands on one, and this is when you get a barkeeper from them.
My
That's
backstory is someone wasn't fast enough in the poppy fields, and yeah, this is the result.
Next thing you know, you're a natural-born barkeep, built like a brick privy. Yeah, I don't know. So you're all sorted out for that one. Can you give us a rundown of the stats on a Grendel and some of the stuff they can do?
Oh yeah. So the Grendel get as far as stats are concerned, +2 con, +2 charisma, so they're quite resilient and surprisingly charismatic, all things considered, but they're not the brightest. Then they've got some stuff for like mixed heritage, meaning they kind of count as both. And furthermore, they've troll-blooded, which means that they can actually regenerate limbs, and they heal quite a bit faster than the average human would.
Now, it won't be fast enough to do it in combat like a regular troll will, but if he gets an arm lopped off, it's not going to really hold him back for very long.
Precisely.
There are poor unfortunates who have more strong troll blood than that, and they do regenerate in combat, and oof, less thought about it, the better.
Precisely.
Penny,
Yes.
could you give us a rundown of the race and class of your character?
I'll be going with a witch wolf skinwalker, which is basically a skinwalker that is more specific to turning into like a wolf form. Haha, furry. But because of the name witch wolf, I wanted to also see like have her be a witch. So yeah.
Finally, the party has a skinwalker. Like an unironic skinwalker. Proper one, none of that Wendigo skull bullshit and rampaging around, flying across the sky and eating people. Well, maybe the eating people bit, but... So, for the witch wolf race, what's particularly peculiar about them, apart from, you know, the extra follicles?
If you give me one moment, I can pull up their specifics. Which, one thing they can do is, they're also considered shape changers. So, they can change their shape. Huzzah, who'd have thought? But... wow, there's so many now.
So yours is at the very bottom.
Oh, yeah. Thank you.
Did you just call her a bottom?
I already
Yes.
know I am one.
If only you knew.
This doesn't need to be brought up again. They also, for example, have dark vision up to 60 feet. They get natural attacks when they have changed shape.
Which ones did you get? You get some claws?
Yes, the 2 claw attacks.
Not bad.
Yeah, I found that bite might do more damage, but then I'd rather do 2 attacks possibly. So
for the record, some races do get natural attacks. It could be bites, claws, galls with horns, talons. Could be a great number of things. Some you can get attacks off of a tail or off of their wings with wing buffets. Claws can be on hands or feet, as a matter of preference. Talons can only really be on feet, I suppose. Just for reference. Some people do actually make fairly robust characters who are wielding weapons in their hands and are just kicking with their claws. Then again, there is also an enormous number of people who make a good living just beating the absolute piss out of people with their bare hands and elbows. And more than one person who specialises in headbutts. The dwarves especially are very fond of it. And your class?
my class will be the witch. As I was already thinking of going somewhere along the lines of, in a way, caster. But I found wizard wouldn't have worked well with her. And especially when the skinwalker sub thing is already called witch wolf. It worked well. Yeah.
The key difference between a wizard and a witch being a wizard has a spell book in which they keep all their spells. Each morning they prepare their spells from their big notebook. and choose what they're going to be able to cast that day. Think of it like writing down notes on cue cards.
To-do list for the day.
Only instead of reminding you what to do or what to say, it reminds reality of where to put things like fireballs and explosions and lightning and shit, or buffs. Whereas a witch communes with their familiar, who works like a spellbook, but obviously alive. Wizards do get a familiar, but it's not as key to their character as the familiar is to a witch.
Yes, and my familiar will be a toad that visually will just look like a Pac-Man toad. So.
Okay. Can see that. What else? Okay. On the matter of familiars, Han, I take it you've got no familiar-based stuff with your character.
No.
Didn't think so. Now, Aiden's character does have something a bit special when it comes to Akasha. Guru is one of the Akashic classes. They get to shape this raw life stuff of the universe, kind of similar to how monks can use ki, how wizards can use magic. A guru and classes like it can shape Akasha, which is the raw building materials of the world, and pour part of themselves into it to breathe it into it life. For instance, another Akasha user might form a sword based on an ancient legend, drawing upon those legends from various different cultures and pouring some of their own soul into it to give it physical form, make it more powerful. So the sword cuts sharper, it's lighter in the hand. Effects like that, to give just a rough example. Aiden, have you chosen your Akashic Veil yet? Or are you still outstanding on that?
No, I hadn't picked it yet. I wasn't.
Okay.
I'm still deciding on it.
We'll come to that later on.
Yeah, I have some ideas, but we'll get back to it. It's less important, I think, right now.
Okay. Just thought I'd broach the matter as we were discussing the early stages of class features. Okay. With you three settled, that leads us to our two new folk to the system. Who would like to go first, or shall I roll?
I'll just do it. Yeah, hello.
Okay. Mark, have you got any particularly strong concept in mind?
Yeah, so I've decided I want to do that comrade class that we looked at previously. I was considering being a troll, you know, because I'm a Russian troll or whatever. But I feel like it goes against the whole paladin thing, and it's kind of handicapping myself. So I think I'll just be a human.
So, if you wanted to play a troll, we do have. Well, Hun himself is a Grendel, so he's somewhat troll-blooded, and there is the forest troll race available, which does have some fairly heroic members available to them.
You could play as V.
Just communist V.
I'm just gonna
Scarcely
go
imagine
with,
anything worse.
I'm gonna go with a human. I've decided. Like, what's the point in being a communist character? Like any other. I can't work out the joke.
That's a good
Something
question,
about
actually,
human
Mark.
nature being the downfall of communism. So I'm going human.
So it would ring a bit hollow to be a communist talking about the struggle of the people when you can regenerate your limbs.
Yeah, exactly. And having my socialized medicine isn't gonna be much of a bonus if I.
Quick, distribute his limbs.
Yeah, we'll all have troll limbs by the end of the campaign.
That can be arranged. Be that as it may. So, a comrade, a human of the comrade class. The comrade is an archetype of the paladin of all things. So, I'll put you over to the Pathfinder class and dig that one out. Now, the comrade swaps out a number of things a paladin gets, so it'll be a little bit tricky in places. I will now post in the player chat. Here's your base class, and here is your archetype. Archetypes work a little bit like specializations or archetypes in 5th edition, though rather than getting to choose one at 3rd level and having to choose one, in Pathfinder they're an option, and they will replace random things at random levels. For instance, the comrade doesn't get detect evil; it gets detect nobility instead.
Yeah.
It doesn't get knowledge. It gets knowledge local rather than knowledge and nobility. And it can, rather than being only lawful good, it can be any good alignment. So there's a bit of variety there. There's also other things that swaps out, like Smite Evil has changed. Pretty much everything Paladin gets up to level 3 is changed in some variety. In fact, they actually do get an ability called Socialist Medicine.
Yeah.
At level 3.
It's cool.
You can afford to do all our healing.
Yeah, for the people. For the people. Fucking hell, here we go.
Yep, so here's to read off the ability. At 3rd level, each ally within 10 feet of the comrade gains a +4 morale bonus on saving throws against all diseases, including supernatural and magical diseases such as mummy rot. This ability functions only whilst the paladin is conscious, not if she is unconscious or dead. This ability replaces divine health, which would have just made him completely immune to disease.
Did you use the she pronoun when it was unknown what the character is? The rule set document
The rules
defaulting
are
to
written that
she?
way.
Yes,
Yeah.
because the iconic paladin is female.
Right. Okay.
Oh, don't worry, Paizo is full of weird bullshit. I specifically love that they tried to be a bit woke about it, but chose to make the non-binary bisexual person a ninja, a class that is completely about being invisible.
Nice. This is like when new Star Trek show called Strange New Worlds added a transgender character, and it was a psycho villain who was deceptive.
Oh, there's a lot of that in this game. It's fucking hilarious. Like this, like foot and mouth syndrome is firmly in place. There are some.
I feel like they accidentally told the truth.
Like they tried to go for like a wizard Wakanda thing down south in the Mwangi Expanse, but unfortunately whilst they were giving a pretty good depiction of Malian myth of basically sorcerer kings, they unfortunately landed in what can best be described as magical melanin land, to put it in a stream-friendly manner. So it's strange to say. This African nation seems to be completely comprised of magical, and then the feed gets mysteriously cut.
No, all I'm saying is it would take more than a vibranium meteor.
Though one of those did drop basically in Venice. And I think they might have had one down the Mwangi Expanse as well, which caused all the magical radiation there. But be that as it may, which has now become a bloody catchphrase at this down rate. But lost my train of thought. Yeah, this game is full of weird, dumb bullshit like this, and it's kind of half of the appeal, to be perfectly honest. The Comrade, for those at home, is not a first-party class. It comes from a third-party book called Gonzo, specifically Gonzo Volume 2. That's the book for all the weird shit, and I heartfeltly endorse those books, just for its ability to let someone play a combat mime. Or a battle butler. Or a magical girl. Or one of the 3 versions of Phantom Thief that are currently in the game. And of course, who could forget the humble chimney sweep class?
Maybe I should play as a VTuber.
Sparkle Princess it is. I'm not joking. It would literally let you play me as a VTuber. Including your ability to rage quit combat.
Oh, that's pretty cool.
There's tons. I'm going to link. If you go to the bottom of the Comrade class entry, there's all the Gonzo classes. There's some weird shit in there. It's fun. But yes, for the Comrade, as a paladin, you're going to need a decent amount of the physical stats, strength and con, for your ability to fight in close combat. Unless you want to go kind of a ranged build, and you can go more dex based. Though the key stat to a paladin is charisma.
Yeah, that's the one that I fucking circled.
I think you'd have great fun playing a charisma character, Mark.
Angle what, sorry?
I think you'd have great fun playing a charisma character.
Yeah, I think so. I think that's what we'll do.
The party,
With,
party faces the one communist in the party. I kind of like it, because now you get to all negotiate.
It's our party.
I mean, who do you want to be talking to for the rest of the game, Bill? Just because he has charisma doesn't mean he's the party face. Bear that in mind, you haven't heard my concept yet.
He's just going to be a face.
Oh, I should actually go Captain Jack Harkness after the aging.
Just the face of Bo.
You're gonna have to wheel around this big vat, but I assure you I have deep knowledge.
Oh, I've already got. I have stats for something like that. I'm just going to stat you as I'm just going to make you a gelatinous cube, and just give you a face in the middle of it. Have a total speed of 10 feet per round, but if anyone runs into you by mistake, they just get dissolved.
I met the doctor once. Hey kids, where you going?
Unfortunately, we can't afford the rights to Toxic, though. It is a solid gold banger.
God, it really is. You gotta get that version that's crossed up with Aesop Rock's coffee. That's the best.
Okay,
So good.
I'll never escape the fucking hipster music in this household.
Excuse me. I'm trying to introduce you to good music, like Aesop Rock cross Britney Spears.
Good grief.
Look, Aiden likes Voyager, so I know she has one good taste. I make no commentary on the other crap, though.
I too am a wholesome Voyager enjoyer.
My goodness, there are singles of us.
Singles.
Units, there are individuals on the planet.
Of course I'm going to enjoy watching fucking Admiral Warcrime bumble around the fucking Gamma Quadrant causing problems.
They didn't make her. Did they make her an admiral at the end?
I think she's an admiral by
she appears as an admiral in Nemesis, yes.
Right, yep.
I suppose I'm still on the journey to find someone else who unironically enjoys Voyager.
I unironically enjoy Voyager. I mean, it's...
One day, maybe I'll find someone.
Well, there we go. I unironically enjoy it.
No, I know that your favorite Star Trek character are Data. And the Data is in on that.
Poor K.
And much like myself, you have the patrician taste to have Threshold as your favorite episode.
I mean, it's the episode in which they go the fastest, so it's the best.
Go really fast.
Their speed equals yes.
But digression aside, so we've got our humble paladin here, now working for the... Well, I'll let him decide which variety of communism he's going to represent in this game. You will have to be good aligned, but then again, I always run alignment as this. Your alignment only has to really match your god, if you're a divine user.
Yeah.
They don't much care about if you're good or evil or such, as long as you kind of toe the party line. Pardon the pun.
I'm all about towing the party line. Don't have to worry about God, because I don't exist. So that's great as well. I was thinking I do want to be able to do backflips as well, because that's cool. So that's a dexterity thing, isn't it? Yeah.
Yes, Dex.
Right,
So
cool.
you could make a pretty decent, not sure what weapons you're kind of looking to go in for.
The hammer and sickle, obviously.
I would suggest that case you'd go with probably a light sickle and light hammer then, just so that they're both dex weapons.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking. Also,
I think you best bring a lot of food supplies with you, Mark.
Well, that's the beauty. We're randomly rolling starting gear.
It's the one problem that we have here in communism, the old food supply. Like, that might be a little
Don't-
I'm really
short.
looking forward to seeing what other character traits you have other than communism, Mark.
Yeah, me too. Oh,
Don't worry, we'll be sorting out backstories and stuff.
Right.
And Pathfinder doesn't have backgrounds the same way 5th edition does, but it does have traits, which are kind of piecemeal backgrounds. You get two to begin with, and then you get to pick it if you want to get extra ones afterwards by taking flaws. But we'll get to that shortly. So Uzlo.
So I mentioned that I didn't have a great deal of character concept. Let me sort of just rub out now what I do have, which is as follows. Greetings, gentlemen and ladies. You find me a noble of former naval officer, and by the name of insert name here. Don't have a name yet. I was in a battle, you see, naval battle. Our side was vastly outgunned, and sadly, we sunk. Took out a lot of the bastards on the way down. I thought my number was up, but luckily I woke on a desert island. Spent rather a long time there, I think you'll find. Rather a bit too long. Learned many things, and many things no one else knows. After that, I was picked up by some pirates. And, for a while, they kept me as a prisoner, but, through my extreme intellect and charisma, I was able to bust my way out, and over the years, I became one of the crew. Or, given time, I became the captain. And I sailed with them for a good long time. Got a lot of good fun we had, even robbed from me former comrades once or twice. And that's all I've got so far. At some point, he's going to leave the pirate ship, become independent. Otherwise, I'd have to bring the crew with me in the campaign, which I'm sure that there's rules for. But I don't want to play an entire crew, just one person. So the idea is swashbuckler, relatively young character, has some degree of sort of hard animalistic wisdom that he gained from his time alone on the island, but is sort of otherwise a Jack Sparrow-esque character, which I thought was somewhat appropriate given contemporary events. And given that you have described the rule set as Amber Heard, I think perhaps I would like to avoid it where possible and just play the story, maybe have a bit of a laugh. I think what the character lacks right now is some sort of funny or meme-worthy additional element to go on top of the accents that I can do. The two voices I can do, which I will be doing both of with this character. Something meme-worthy, something maybe even meta, because I know that your stories go often quite meme-worthy and quite meta, which I'm absolutely fine with. Something to make him more than just man with cutlass and funny voices. So I'm open to ideas on that.
We should put it first and foremost to the chat, see if anyone has anything that comes to mind before I throw in with my change on this particular one.
Sir Andisha in chat says Steve Bonnet, not far off. Mostly the inspiration would have been Jack Sparrow. But Bonnet's not far off as well.
I made a story a long time ago with a pirate character who was the captain of a ship. You know, there's like a trope, like Mysterio, or the trope is you put like a goldfish bowl, like as the joke, or whatever. I gave this guy like a parrot in a bird cage, like on an animatronic human body. Always thought that was cool. It's an option.
Not necessarily viable in the 1700s world that we play.
You
You'd
can
be surprised. There is a class for playing the familiar of a wizard who has beaten the wizard mentally so badly that now it's the one in charge. So you could play a literal parrot controlling a wizard body, basically.
So some of the ideas I had, which I don't think any of them work that well, is he has hallucinations from his time on the island, but occasionally the hallucinations become real. Now that would be up to you, of course, Bill, as the storyteller, because I wouldn't be able to decide when it becomes real at my own will, because that would be too unbalanced. So it would be up to you on that one. It would be extra work for you, but it might be something you could use. Another one is that there would be some sort of voices in his head that give him occasional tasks. Another one might be that he joined some sort of cult on the island and he has to collect a bunch of stuff for a massive ritual surreptitiously, like skulls and blood and bones and stuff.
I think I've got something, but I will put it to the chat, see if they've got anything else. That's great.
But this is based on someone in my community telling me that there is a class called Swashbuckler, which is simple to play. And I'm not a big fan of the autism or the numbers or the interaction with the rule set, so something like that would probably be better.
Swashbuckler basically boils down to stab people, occasionally throw out a fancy move that just gives you a small bonus. So
That sounds good to me.
like the ability to make someone stab someone in the arm so they drop the weapon, that kind of stuff. They can be quite vicious.
Before you do a stab.
Yeah.
Yeah. Let's refresh our memory on Swashbuckler. I shall pop that into player chat. Those would be based around primarily dexterity and charisma.
That fits. I mentioned before that just because someone else has high charisma doesn't necessarily mean they'll be the face of the party. I had envisaged my character, if no one else particularly wants to be, doing most of the negotiations and talking, since I enjoy that more than the combat in these RPs.
Fine with me.
Okay.
But yeah.
Yeah, agreed. You seem pretty good at talking.
But I'll be strongly relying on your natural charismatic flair, Mark, as well.
Yeah. Alright.
Okay. I can certainly sort you out something for the locals. As you've been spending a great deal of time marooned on an island, and you're about to experience it again, might be that the two places have something in common. Well, in terms of the things lurking around them.
Yeah, at the very least, my character might have experience that would help, because I know that you said that we're starting the campaign on an island.
Yes.
Are we in fact marooned on one?
I say marooned, as there is it's fairly well populated for quite a small rock in the middle of the ocean.
Okay. Right, so you've put us on Guernsey, understood.
Yes.
Unironically.
So I ran last time, it went down well, so I'm going with what works. Besides, not many people know much about Guernsey, so it makes keep people on the toes.
Well, I guess they have about as much internet in your setting as they do in real life.
Yeah, that's so.
Well,
We're getting fibre installed, unfortunately it means that I can't get into my driveway.
Yeah. Because they're tearing everything up to put in the fiber.
That's why we're having this at such late at night, as to avoid any drilling noises in the background.
Yeah, that, and it was a time everybody was free, but yeah. Also, there would be drilling.
Yeah, we can certainly sort you out with the Swashbuckler. And strangely, the Swashbuckler is a combination of two different classes, Fighter and Gunslinger, in terms of its, class design's DNA.
Is hoping that doesn't make it more complicated.
No, very much not.
Fantastic.
All it boils down to is it gets a couple of deeds it can pick. They are fixed values. I have got people in my ear suggesting alternatives, but we'll keep you on Swashbuckler for the time being. See how you like it. Go from there.
Alrighty.
But primarily, it's just stuff like you get weapon proficiency, you get to weapon finesse for free. You get some level 1 deeds, which is stuff like you get bonuses to acrobatics and climbing if you spend what you have in terms of your class is something called panache, which is a spendable resource that regenerates every time you hit someone with a critical hit, or you kill someone with a piercing weapon, like a rapier. It will basically replenish over time as you fight more people. And
sorry,
also,
would you say that again? On panache?
Panache is a pool of this resource panache. It has a certain number of points you get, depending on what your charisma modifier is. You can spend it to do things like add a d6 roll to your acrobatics roll, or to dodge out of the way and attack, or to parry someone and then stab them as a riposte. You regain it by killing people with finesse weapons, or by scoring critical hits, or doing impressive shit, like swinging from ropes and stabbing people mid jump, that kind of stuff. Any kind of interesting stunts, that kind of thing. Cool guy shit is actively rewarded. As I said, it makes up the meat of your class's abilities.
All right.
Apart from
I
that,
mean,
it's pretty standard. You're pretty
Okay.
standard. You can play it as a ranged class as well if you're so inclined, but fairly standard, lightly armored, dexterity-based melee fighter.
there was a suggestion in chat, actually, from Hasso which I think we could work with, which is give him a lover that used to be his sword before a bored wizard polymorphed it into a woman. Now, what I'm thinking is that every night the sword polymorphs back into that lover, and she's great, but she's jealous and doesn't let me have other swords. So
Oh,
I
that's
can
fun.
only have one main weapon. Maybe she is also some sort of mysterious entity. Maybe she has unforeseen powers, which might allow for unexpected crap in the future.
And allows me to outsource weird shit happening to you to that sword statistically.
Yeah, there you go.
Because Swashbuckler is a bit on the light end of things in terms of a statistical oomph. So this would allow me to give it a prod in the right direction and ease things up when need be.
Thing is, who plays the lover? Because
Chat.
Chat,
chat plays the right. Well, I don't get me
This-
wrong,
this-
chat.
this
I
is now
like
Twitch.
you.
This is now Twitch plays the Ethot sword.
Sow the wind.
So okay, so that's one idea.
I do like that idea. I like the idea. I've had someone else whisper in my ear the idea of like, hey, cursed sword. I think giving a sword to the wonderful woman is about as cursed as it gets, so that works out. Got another suggestion coming in. Okay. One suggestion coming in is if you were to want to play a character specializing in wielding the sword, there is a class based around wielding a cursed sword and using magic in conjunction with it. I'm not sure if you want to dip your toes into magic in terms of the swashbucklery stuff, or if you want to just stick to pure swashbuckler.
You are talking to a wizard.
True.
Well, maybe. Is magic in this rule set similar to how it is in D&D? I've only played 5e.
Yes. The Magus, which is the one in question, they have a very specific thing. When they're in combat with someone, they can stab someone and also cast at the same time. It's something called spell combat. They only get a few spells, but they tend to be damaging ones they can use in close combat with their close combat weaponry. So they could run up to you, stab you with a sword, and then channel a spell that shoots lightning out their hands into the sword, into the person. That kind of stuff. And the Blade Magus archetype specifically gives them an intelligent sword. That's it. I like the idea of.
Right, okay. How about that it's basically it's Cortana?
We could
So
rig up the text to speech.
I can still hear it all the time. Well, it doesn't have to be text to speak, but you know, it's like an ally that I can always hear all the time. And maybe that would give an advantage for a gameplay advantage, but you know, narrative advantage for talking or for dealing with some situations. Might mean make the character slightly better at some things, but also occasionally distracted by the femoid.
True. And part of me likes the idea of it not being actually seen or heard directly for the most part, but just like you just see the aftermath of the sword wreaking its influence on you. Whether it
Perhaps there is always a question as to whether the sword really is a woman. Everyone assumes that I'm just mad, but when no one's looking, and only when no one's looking, it does actually become a woman.
there is actually a race that is a magical sword that can a magic weapon that can turn into a person, called the armor. No relation to the game, of course.
This is also a great excuse for me not to have to deal with upgrading equipment. Because my equipment is, well, it will get jealous if I try to upgrade it, to put it that way. Women, am I right?
Apparently there is an option on the Magus to just steal most of the swashbuckler's abilities. As is usually the case. and of course it's first party.
Also,
so-
a captain threw in some $10 saying the sword is the grandchild of spiteful chant.
Spiteful Chant was an intelligent weapon we ran into in a previous campaign. A vicious little fucker of a weapon. It was a particularly gnarly axe.
Well, that seems like quite a lot of genetic drift all of a sudden.
Not so much. Soul Chant did have a gauntlet form as well, so shape-shifting weapons are kind of in the bloodline.
The only issue with this idea of the sword that comes to life is whoever plays it, there's problems. Because if someone else plays it, I don't know if I want to roleplay entertaining a woman I don't like. If it's awful, I would just get a different sword and not bother. Like that would be in the character's character as well. And if I'm playing it, then that kind of seems a little bit simpy, giving myself a femoid game.
I did see one recommendation from the chat for Sylveon to play the woman.
Oh, that would be hilarious. Sylveon
Sorry,
Ducro is a gay Swede.
Look up in the
That doesn't
sky, it's the
narrow it down.
femboy signal.
Yeah.
It was Andisha who recommended that, so...
Of course, Andisha suggested that.
Yeah,
Although-
as I say, this is not a bad idea in principle, and it would be good if it wasn't an RP, but because it is, someone has to play this woman. I think whatever happens with that, it's not going to be good.
Oh, it's okay.
Less-
It's okay. We'll only introduce the actual like actor or actress for the part after you and the sword break up, so it can be extra awkward. we have to try and find some other poor bastard to wield the damn thing, so as to not have a get up to mischief.
What if you've lost it? Like, and then that's one of your things, and it's to find your magic sword that transforms into a bitch.
The sword finds you one day, and it's just...
Yeah, that's the question. Are you looking for it, or are you looking for a way away from the sword?
Look, I was scrolling through Tinder, and there's the sword on there. God, why can't women just be loyal? Stop asking why I was on Tinder.
Is it just going to turn into a Spanish soap opera with a sword?
It's a cross between Days of Our Hearts and The Mask of Zorro. I'm just pulling fucking names up my ass at this point. Yeah, I can work with that. I like the idea. Yeah. Also, we could tie in the island to island nature of your history. So we kind of brought it full circle from your marooning through to being shipwrecked here, because this is going to be a shipwreck story. I hate to break this to people. I've even got the map ready already.
There's no other way you'd find me in fucking Guernsey aside
I don't
from
know.
shit.
It's the case with most people. We've got we actually have a long and storied history of getting people shipwrecked on the rocks.
And banished here.
Yes. So if anyone wants to get the Victor Hugo's treatment and get banished here by a high-level mage, you offended the wrong motherfucker. You're getting bounced to the fucking evil island.
So is it like a discount Australia then?
What I always called it white-collar Australia. As opposed to the very blue-collar Australia. Sheep thieves get sent to Australia. Embezzlers get sent here. Very tenuous one there.
Don't forget, chat, that if you want someone else to play this character, then they'll have to be here as well. It's one more person to organise.
Yeah. And they may not necessarily have the kind of screen time that someone might necessarily enjoy. And playing a sentient sword can be a bit restrictive in terms of the old gameplay.
Also, no offense, Bill. Once again, like you, but I don't know if I want to flirt with you.
What?
I mean, for one thing, I don't think Aiden would be very pleased with that.
Oh no, that'd be hilarious, but from my perspective.
Yeah. I don't think I've got quite the vocal cords for it.
Maybe Han could give it a try.
Yeah, I'm very passionate.
Right.
So we need a different idea. It's the kind of thing where if we can't think of anything now, if we're out of time, then we can, if you like, Bill, we can go ahead and I'll think of something later to add to it. But it probably would be better to think of it now, wouldn't it?
Yeah, I'd say we've got the ear of the chat now, so they can throw their stuff out here, and if they think of anything off the top of their heads. Good.
See, all the things I was coming up with before sort of either required you to do extra stuff or required another play. I know, but still, I think I would prefer if I didn't have to make you do something for my character to work the way it's supposed to. I'd prefer to be able to initiate it myself if possible.
What if? Okay, this is a bit out there, but what if your character is in fact not the character in question? If your character is the sword, who has taken human form, but thinks he's the original owner because he's been imprinted with the memories?
Maybe. I'm not sure how that would work because he would still need to use the sword.
Yes,
Similarly,
luckily the armor race happen to look human in their normal forms, but their unarmed attacks look and damage exactly like their weapon form.
the issue with that is that I'm a human supremacist, and so my character will be too.
Exactly, but you wouldn't realize you weren't human.
No, I'm not going to do that.
Not going to pull the fall all of a sudden, but the game.
An alternative would be that when they were on the island, so it's using the lover thing. When no one's looking, the character switches to the lover, or at certain times the character just switches in place. Because originally I was thinking like the character is actually two brothers. But then I don't want to play two characters, so what if they just switch in place every now and again?
One goes in the sword, one goes in the body.
Maybe, but all that means is that occasionally the character has amnesia. And if they're both active at once, then again, we need to either have someone else to play the other character, or I play as the sword, which is... I don't think that there's really anything I can do with that, and that's two characters to play for a first-time player.
Yeah.
So, Vigilante would be an interesting option.
Oh yeah, Vigilante. Vigilante is a class that gets a regular everyday persona and a kind of a combat persona, kind of like your Bruce Wayne to Batman kind of thing.
I was thinking of some sort of Dr. Jekyll, Mr. Hyde situation, but
there are two classes. Vigilante gets one, and there is an alchemist class one that gets it drinks a mutagen and literally hulks out.
I think the swashbuckling. I mean, half the point of going with swashbuckling was that the combat's relatively uninvolved.
Yeah, sure.
Plus, Vigilante is a lot to keep track of, as I have one character with Vigilante.
Here's the master list of classes, and if there is anything that takes the fancy. Probably should have posted this early. What the hell's an Pandora? When did that come out?
Oh no, even Bill isn't aware of this.
What kind of bullshit is this?
Honduran.
Pandora.
A Honda? What?
Yeah, a Honda Civic.
What is a Honda Civic doing here?
Yoda, is that you?
Oh yeah, I forgot. They include the vampire. Oh, that's what it is. The Pandora is from... I think Pandora's from... Yes, it's from the Niobe expansion. They've done a bunch of like LinkedIn weirdo fucking skits PDFs of random classes. I don't know what the hell. Okay, Niobe Pathfinder. What the hell's this? What the hell is this series? Niobe Endura. I don't know the series. I know they did a Vampire Hunter D like spin-off like PDF, so you could play as one of the Vampire Hunters or as a Dunpeel, as opposed to a regular Vampire. But who knows? There's Unchained variants, there's occult classes, alternate classes, NPC classes. No one plays those. There's a bit of everything. But yeah, Swashbuckler is the combination of gunslinger and fighter. It is bleeding edge simple, and we do have plenty of avenues of exploration there. Magus is for more of your castery, kind of like a Swashbuckler with casting a little bit, as opposed to more mundane swashbuckling. And the question is, what kind of sword would you want it to be? rapier, longsword. Katana,
Probably
cutlass.
cutlass on balance. It's often what I say if I am asked what I think the ideal sword would be.
I'll post the weapon listing so everyone can get a gander at what we have to offer. There is also an Eastern weapon section, which is on the link. Here's the regular weapon section. There's a bit of everything. I'm being told
So-
Pandora was legitimately written by one of the diversity hires, so that one's not to worry about. But yeah, cutlass is there. It's equivalent of rapier, but a slashing version. Lower damage than the longsword, but it crits more often.
That sounds fine. What did you say the weapon was called, sorry?
It's listed as just a cutlass
Okay, that's fine. Yeah.
in the martial weapon section. Hilariously enough, whilst your class is completely based around using one-handed piercing and slashing weapons, there is a feat for the followers of the goddess of love and beauty, where they get to use a glaive instead. Because nothing said, basically just pulling a full-on like a Japanese warrior woman gig and just using a polearm instead of a rapier. But yeah, cutlass completely viable. We are using a kind of a third-party thing called Elephant in the Room that cuts down on the number of complete trash abilities in the game. Because you get a feat every odd-numbered level in this game, you get a feat rather than every fourth level, like in 5e. So everyone here in this party has at least one feat to spend. I will link the feats shortly. And there's quite a bit of chaff in there. There's a lot of feats to let you do things that you really should be able to do anyway. Elephant in the Room, which I have linked previously, and will link again, allows you to kind of, as long as you have a decent base stat bonus, you get it for free, or it combines a lot of feats into one. It's all here. In any case. Now we've got the vagaries of our classes sorted and of our race. You're sticking with human, is that right, Usually? Or will you be looking for anything a bit?
Yes, human.
Okay. That allows you humans get. I'll get you the page out. Humans get quite a bit, to be honest. Humans get a +2 to any stat of their choice. 30-foot movement. They speak common, and if you've got a high intelligence, you can pick an extra any language as normal. They get 1 bonus feat, and they get 1 extra skill rank per level. Now, to use you as an example here, Ursula, because I happen to have the swashbuckler already open, we won't worry about starting wealth, because we're doing that randomly. Hit dice. These work similarly to in 5th edition. You have a D10 for your hit dice. As a martial, most martials have a D10 or a D8. So you would normally roll a D10 for your hit points and add your con modifier. In this case, all level 1 hit dice are maximized, so you'd have 10 plus constitution modifier. That's something to think about later. Also, as a swashbuckler, you have a number of skills per level based on it'll be 4 base points plus your int modifier, be that positive or negative. So it depends on let's see what. To use you as an example, usually as we've maintained on you, shall we allocate your stats? Or would you like me to move on to another for that one?
Oh, we might as well do the stats, I suppose.
Okay.
I think Dex and Charisma are the 2 that were supposed to be good for the character, and those are the 2 I probably would want anyway.
Yes. Dex and Charisma are your big ones. And I'd say a drop of Constitution wouldn't hurt. Generally speaking, you're looking at least a 12, preferably a 14 for any front-line fighter.
I suppose it would be frontline if he's melee.
Yes. Unless you want to spec into throwing weapons, which unfortunately Cutlass isn't.
So, thinking I might put the 17 in charisma, since that would be what I'd be more interested in using. But then 15's not bad for Dex, I assume.
15 is not bad at all. I'll say there are other avenues for combat as well. There are feats that change things around. For instance, there are feats out there that let you use charisma to hit.
It's not bad.
Now, admittedly, that one does come with a caveat that you have to make a witty pun each time you attack, or some kind of snide comment, though I don't think the latter will be much issue for you. Or
Thanks, bitch.
That's the spirit. But we'll get to that in the feat section, I suppose. Feats generally are there to help you specialize in certain things or to alleviate issues in others. So, for instance, if you happen to have a really crap wisdom score, but a really good int score, you could take a feat that switches your will save over to int instead.
See.
For Fortitude, Reflex, Will Save are Constitution, Dexterity, and Wisdom-based saving throws, respectively. You get a bonus based on your class.
All right. I don't want you to be misled into thinking that I have any idea what how even 5e works, because I played a full campaign like years ago, which was the Wendy campaign that many people probably remember. Since then, I have done one session and avoided interactions with the rule set because I don't like it. So I know almost nothing about these rule sets in general.
All good. I wouldn't worry too much about it.
So I need to put 14, 12, and 12 into my stats, and I've got Wisdom, Int, and Strength left to put them into. I think for... Go on.
Strength can be useful as it affects carrying capacity as well. And until you get an ability that lets you add your dexterity to your damage, you'll be running on strength for damage.
Okay.
You get an ability later on that uses dex for damage. So if you want to... on that short term. Intelligence governs your extra skills and wisdom governs your will save. So it's not a bad thing to have.
Mm.
For your if you go into configuration, you should be able to put in the swashbuckler class, and then you can enter things like the hit dice, the base attack bonus. As a marshal, you get a full base attack bonus, so every level it goes up by 1. So Bab is 1. Swashbuckler saves, you only get a +2 to reflex and 0 to the rest. So Fort and Will are both 0. Reflex is 2. That's in the configuration section of the classes.
Yeah, I see. Roll20 does this great thing where it changes the tab when anyone changes it, which is very annoying. But I'm on the right place now, so I'm filling in these numbers. So 1 on Bab, I think it was. What was Fort?
Fortitude save is a 0. Reflex, which is ref, is 2. Will save is 0. You don't put anything in speed, because that's speed modifiers, which mainly only barbarians and monks get at higher levels. And for skill ranks, you will just put 4.
Whence? Where am I putting that?
If you go into the skill rank section next to the speed, it'll put a section with the ranks in it. So you just put 4 in the ranks, which is 0 currently. There you go. And that gives you your total number of skill points to spend, which is 5.
I saw someone in chat call this Pathfinder.
Yes.
Not
Once you get the
really.
character creation out of the way,
Yeah.
it calms down, especially if you're not using the more complex subsystems. The subsystems can get a bit out there. There is a particular martial arts discipline I helped design and playtest, which at higher levels can actually allow you to grapple yourself and throw yourself into the upper atmosphere. It's a bit peculiar. Okay. If we can return to the main section after having done that, I'll walk you through your... Okay, we've allocated Constitution, so now we can sort out your health. I hope everyone's following along, because this will be the same that you'll have to do as well. For max hit points, under the hit points section, for max you want to put 10 plus your con mod of 2, so a total of 12. So and current, it would also be 12. Okay. For weapons, I won't worry about that too just yet. We'll sort out your cutlass later on. Okay, here comes the awkward bit. Yes, this is the awkward bit. You see in the section marked skills, which looks a bit daunting.
Yeah.
There's a white box next to some of these skills. This
How many?
dictates. Okay, I'm gonna rattle them off, and you tick the ones that I rattle off. Acrobatics. Don't know after you've done each one.
Yep, go ahead.
Bluff.
Yep.
Climb.
Yep.
Craft.
Yep.
Diplomacy.
Yes.
Escape artist.
Yep.
Intimidate.
Yep.
Knowledge local.
Yep.
Knowledge nobility.
Yep.
Perception.
Yep.
Perform.
Yep.
Profession.
Yep.
Ride.
Yep.
Sense motive.
Yep.
Sleight of hand.
Yep.
Swim.
Yep.
These are your class skills. You get bonuses when you put ranks in them. You have 5 skills to pick. And you put, in the rank section in the middle, put 1 in those skills. Whichever 5 you wish. It doesn't have to be one that's been ticked. But if you pick one that's been ticked, you get more bonuses. Basically, you get a flat +3 to any class skill that you have a point in. The majority of these are pretty self-explanatory. Acrobatics is the ability to tumble and jump around. Appraise is your ability to look at an item and know how much it's worth. Bluff is lying to people and being able to use things like feints in combat. Climbing is climbing. Crafting, you have to pick 1 craft skill. So smithing or weapons crafting, being a bowyer, alchemist, that kind of thing. You just pick 1, you put it in the little subsection there, and you slap your ranks in. Diplomacy is convincing people to do things that using the truth rather than bluff. Disabled device is the ability to pick locks and to also disarm traps.
Haha, your mom's a disabled device. Sorry.
Disguise is self-explanatory, disguising yourself. Escape artist is to be able to slip out of bonds and such. Fly is to control things like hang glide or magical wings. Handle animal is animal handling. Healing is medicine and field basic stuff like first aid. Intimidate is scaring people and getting them to do what you want. The knowledges are a specific subcategory of knowledge each, and obviously it's knowledge within that field.
I like the implication that knowledge local gives me knowledge of all local knowledge.
Yes, it's your ability.
Every location.
Yes, it's essentially your ability to peruse the area of information locally.
Right, so it's not just knowledge, even though it's labeled as that. It's also the ability to gather it.
Passively, it's the one that you just kind of that stuff you picked up. You can actually use diplomacy to actively search for information locally.
I look forward to showing you the skill system in my rule set because this is I've solved this problem.
Thank fuck, because good grief.
And there's so little maths involved in the entire thing. Almost none, actually.
Linguistics. Linguistics is a bit more complex than it looks. Linguistics covers not just your ability to learn new languages, it also covers forgery. Doesn't come up very often, but when it does, it does.
About every 4 years.
Perception. It's perception, it's the ability to take in your surroundings. very important, but quite simple. Performance is, string instruments, wind instruments, dancing, singing, comedy, the arts, the stuff you go to college, the stuff that far too many people go to college for. Next up, we have profession, which is stuff like working as a smith, working as a barkeep, working as this, that, or the other. Profession soldiering exists, profession sailor. You probably want to go with profession sailor. It has the added bonus of letting you control watercraft and operate them properly.
I assume that the job I put in there should be one of a list.
Yes, it's a fairly laissez-faire list. You can just pick any profession that you feel would be appropriate.
So if I put pirate,
Yes.
it will give me... So it's interpreted, it's not one of a list.
There is a list, but it's not exclusionary.
Okay.
Like pirate and sailor are pretty...
Yeah, I'll put sailor then, as you recommend, in case there's anything specific to these labels.
Ride is your ability to, control things like horses and siege elephants and any other rideable creature.
Ah, yes, the first two rideable things that come to mind: horses and siege elephants.
Most people just buy a bison, to be honest.
Don't feel that you need to explain any of these that are self-explanatory.
Yeah, sense motive is picking up on stuff. Sleight of hand is not just like it's stuff like pickpocketing.
Yeah.
Spellcraft is stealth. Survival is survival, and use magical devices is forcing magical items to do what you want them to do. So if you've got a wand, you're gonna want to have that skill just so you can make it work. The average person can't pick up a magical wand and make it work innately. And all of these skills have weird rulings on their respective wiki pages. Like, survival has a caveat from one book where you can use it to ignore the stunned condition. It's fucking weird.
You know the skill called handle animal?
Yes.
Your mum's a handled animal.
Ha ha ha!
Yeah, see, I thought one of you would like that one, and I thought it would be you as well, for some reason. How many of these could you do that with, I wonder?
Disabled device usually is the one that it's made fun of.
Dungeoneering. Geography. Planes.
I mean, there's always sleight of hand.
With your mum, it's more survival, mate.
We're just gonna gloss over the word ride.
Oh right, yeah.
Yes, we are. We are. It's too obvious. It's all a
Yeah,
matter of will.
sometimes when it gets particularly bad, you just want to be an escape artist.
I do believe at one point I
Right.
either had under profession or perform, I just had bottom there because I just didn't know what to put there. So I was like, yeah,
I'll argue it's more of a
perform
vocation. Certainly, it's more of a vocation than it's a profession.
Well, you see, it's a full-time job.
So it's like you have to pick 5 of these. But there's a caveat. There is a special subcategory called background skills, which are everyone gets 2 for free from a specific list that includes some things on this listing.
Just what this needed. More special cases.
Yeah, they use a lot. It gives people a bit more breadth of skill because some classes like Paladin, you get 2 skill points plus int, and you're not taking int very high for the most part. It's a bit suffering to try and handle animals, look after your horse, when you only have 2 skills, and one of them is probably going into perception, and the other one's probably going into something like religion. Ah, ha, ha, ha.
Thank you, Daniel, by the way. Awesome.
So now everyone can tick geography on their sheets, and will get skill focus in it for free. knowledge geography has two uses: to actually navigate geography, in such as oxbow lakes and floodplains and all those fun things, and given certain people here, given their nationality, the various layouts of dikes. To those of us who are of Dutch heritage. Also has the added bonus that you can also use to racially profile people in combat, mid-combat.
You just gave it that to make it useful. And granted, I'm glad you did, because that is useful.
I know, it was always that's statistically fucking accurate, is what it does. That's like the only there is a martial arts system where if you roll a nat 20 on a skill, you get to have a special move that you can learn based on that skill and your level. The only way to unlock one branch of it is to be racist in combat. I'm not joking, because they made it so that you needed to pass skill checks in order to get crit successes on skill checks to unlock it, and the skill that martial art is associated with is geography, and the only active combat use of it is racism.
Now, chat, I ain't saying nothing, but if one of you were to super chat and force Mark to take that.
I believe it also has a specific ability where you can shoot people if they dare to walk closer to you.
Yes, they have an ability which is if you activate this counter, and if a person you designate moves more than half their speed, you get to automatically shoot them with your ranged weapon and auto hit. It is hilariously strong, especially if you happen to have a gun.
And this gun I found.
Because the mental image of this proud hammer and sickle, like, communist paladin going forth to spread the good word, then halfway through combat just pulls a fucking nagant and just goes, "Try me, bitch."
Also, speaking of guns, earlier someone in chat asked, no, specifically Rat King, they asked what is the limit on guns and to what years does it go up to?
Okay. Roughly 1700s on tech level here regionally. There are other places in the world that are far, far higher, including stuff that uses like future tech. One of the places in Galarian has like straight up, it's just referred to in the community as Techno Conan versus the space aliens, or versus the robots. There are like straight up robots running around. There are las rifles, the works.
See, I was wondering earlier why this skills list has aeronautics knowledge. And then I realized planes doesn't mean aeronautics, it means planes of existence.
Yeah.
Yes. It's more metaphysical than that. You could use it for aeronautics as well.
You would allow that, would you?
I'll allow it. It's more an engineering thing, but here's a caveat. Also, this is a setting where if you go up far enough, you can just accidentally fall into random planes. Like, you could end up in the plane of air.
Just like in real life.
Yeah, like you go up too far, you fall into space, and once you're in space, you go into a place called the Dark Tapestry, where all the monsters live.
Also, if you fall up too far in real life, a plane might hit you. So that's also that. Can we creatively reinterpret dungeoneering to be used for love?
I'm suddenly reminded of when Paranoia introduced the marital arts skill, knowing that most of the player base would misread.
Ah, yes.
And think it was martial arts.
I came up with a better solution. In my rule set, I called it rigorous physical fraternization.
I've always been a big fan of the term venereal sport.
Genital jousting is probably where that comes from.
I don't know, I picked it up from the film A Field in England, an excellent film I suggest to everyone. Too much venereal sport. The gentle jousting is marriage as well. Yeah, throw down 5 where you see you fit. And on the link I gave is the listings for background skills. You get 2 of these for free. And these will go up every level. You can put the points elsewhere after the first level, but for simplicity, most people just go for just straight through, all the way to max level. I would suggest for new players, you probably want to put your favorite class bonus into hit points, which would boost your hit points up to 13. So every level you are a swashbuckler, you will get a free extra hit point.
I don't know where that is on the sheet.
Oh, just in the hit point section up top, where you put in the 12 earlier.
Hmm.
Bump it up to 13.
It's
Okay.
basically just a +1 for every level up
Yeah.
to your HP. It's an automatic one.
What are the alternatives to that?
An extra skill point, or the human swashbuckler specialist one. Let me look what it is. Increase the total number of points in the swashbuckler's panache pool by 1/4. So every 4th level, you would get an extra grit point. Sorry, panache point. That's, how should I put this politely, fucking awful.
Well, I don't mind taking your recommendation.
I'd go with hit points just in case. No one wants to get hit. No one wants to take out like a spear to the face in the first combat and die instantly by mistake. I like to say I usually know how to tune an encounter to make sure everyone doesn't instantly die, but sometimes the dice fuck us. Especially on Roll20. Good grief. Watching someone roll 4 consecutive natural ones. Rough days. Oh. Brings my next point. Mark, I should probably give you your skills as well. Mark, have you got your sheet open to the skill section?
I think he's AFK.
Maybe an FK. Okay. Aiden, have you got you've got access to the guru class and you know your way around the skill section, right? So you've got your end of things. Hun, Penny, you've got things on lock, I take it.
Yep.
Yep, already filling out things on the side.
Right, okay. As for feats, whilst we're approaching the subject, the list of feats is hundreds, if not.
I was so lost then, looking through like 15 different windows for the tab to fucking unmute myself. I'm here. Yeah, I have it open already, yeah.
Okie dokie.
And now I've got to find that again though, hang on.
There you go. Should have flipped you to it instantly. Fucking deity Kim Il Sung. Jesus Christ.
No, also. It's actually magic, you know. Go on,
Alright.
so...
Apparently so, because you get spells from someone. But, okay. For the paladin, let's do your skills first. So tick the boxes for craft. Just let me know after each one. Diplomacy.
Yeah.
Handle animal.
Yeah.
Heal.
Yeah.
Knowledge local.
Yeah.
Knowledge religion.
Yeah.
Profession.
Yeah.
Ride.
Oh, yeah.
Sense motive.
Sense motive, yeah.
And spellcraft.
Okay.
Okay. Let's take you to the configuration menu. I'll pop in Comrade for your class. Okay. Are you currently looking at the classes section under configuration?
Yeah, I'm with you.
Okie dokie. You have a base attack bonus, which is BAB of 1.
Mm-hmm.
Your hit dice is a D10.
Okay, nice. I think.
Okay. Your saves go as follows: from fort to reflex to will. 2, 0, 2. You essentially have the opposite.
Right.
Oh, I almost forgot. Because of Daniel's payment earlier, you also get geography as a class skill. But we'll go back to that shortly.
Yeah. Alright, done. 1.
Okay. For skill ranks, you get 2.
2.
So you will unfortunately get 3 skill points per level, plus your background skills.
Huh.
Okie dokie. Taking back to the main. Only dex of a character. Right, dokie. So you get 3 skills to put where you wish. You
Yeah.
get 2 skills that can only be in the background skill section.
So 3 and another 2 background ones.
Again, I would personally suggest you take the hit points. If you are really hard up for skills, you can take the skill point instead. It's absolutely your preference. We have got our first fan art coming through, I believe, in the sketching section, and it is wondrous.
Where's this?
That's awesome.
In
the
Work
whipping
in
quick-
progress and quick
yeah.
sketches. It's above the backrooms.
Right, I see.
Oh yeah.
I shall be adding it to the stream so people can look at it actually, besides the unmoving Roll20 screen. As well as I'll be crediting the artist, as I'm not a dick. This time around.
Shit.
As I quietly expand the size of the maps I've got downloaded to actually show the watermark this time around. I'm joking. I'm not doing that. You'll get a citation list at the end of the campaign. Fuck you, people.
Trick is to conveniently place an object over it.
Wow, there seems to be an awful lot of debris here. It's the strangest thing.
Huh. And it doesn't fit the art style of the map either. Weird.
Oh, don't worry, you'll be seeing plenty of that anyway, regardless of watermarks. Beggars can't be choosers. Yeah. If you, as I mentioned, anything's a class skill, once you put a rank in it, you get an innate bonus of +3 to it, just for having 1 rank.
Yeah.
So you do get better returns from it. Also, you have an int of +1, so you get to pick an extra language.
Of my choice. Obviously,
Yep.
that's what pick means. I don't know. Fucking.
Be as broad as.
Well, what's useful too, Bill? I don't, in this setting.
Yeah.
In the
that's what
setting,
I'm
your standard, you start with common, obviously. You got your elven, your dwarven, your orcish. You got your planner languages like abyssal, infernal, celestial, Aklo, which is the speech of like the deep ones and weird shit like that. Ignan, Aquan shit.
What about horse?
I'll allow it. Technically it'd be Sylvan, but I like the idea of it just being horse specifically.
Yeah, so I can just talk to horses.
We have a long history of
Do we need
the
to
roles
read
of
into
horses
that?
in this game.
I was just thinking a horse is the most common animal that I'm going to come across in the game.
Why would you be coming across them? That's disgusting.
Talking about one.
Better than a horse
Just get
coming
the right
across
skill
you.
for.
True.
How would you know that, Mark?
How do you not know that?
Yeah, I think you could just guess.
We come full circle to gentle jousting here.
It all comes full circle. It's like pottery, it rhymes.
Okay. Going into
So-
the additional section. I could go into feats, but would be here all day. That's feats with F-E-A-T-S. This is not that kind of program to be the other spelling. Thank you very much. You keep the degeneracy to a bare, hilarious minimum. Okay. I will say that. In the features section, you're going to want to put down the abilities innate to the comrade. I believe you don't get the usual aura. We'll check what you get. Okay, you replace Detect Evil and Smite Evil with Detect Nobility and Smite Bourgeoisie. So you still get Aura of Good. They're doing wonders for the PR these days. So yeah, Detect Nobility and Smite Bourgeoisie once per day. both of you as humans, the majority of the party as humans, will get a extra feat at level 1 for a total of 2. The Oread and the Witch Wolf will not, unfortunately, get those. They have their own abilities. Same with the Grand Lord. So the humans of the party get an extra feat. I realise that they're actually now in the minority. Feats would be, I would say, I'll speak to you in private regarding feats during the week. We'll get those sorted out, because there's an awful lot of them. And not all of them are good, some of them are fantastic, some of them are just straight up busted.
There are a huge number of them, yeah.
Same with traits. There are a lot of traits. Traits make up the background equivalent. So it could be something like, reactionary. You get a +2 to initiative because your childhood was in like the rough streets, so you had to be able to think on your feet.
Yeah.
Or you grew up near the rivers, so you know how to swim well, and you're good with a knife.
Mm. Well, as a child, I used to work down the bread mines.
Bread
There is-
mines.
Yeah.
Trying to get bread.
Bread.
That was before like a big bread rolled in, like and took over my town or whatever.
Big bread.
The big dough.
The big toe, yeah.
Oh, no. There's no dough in that society. That's why there's no bread.
The upper crust is nowhere to be found as usual when there's work to be done. I've made too many bread puns in my time. Okay, I'm not sure if there's one for a specific trait for minors, be they children or, mine operators or both. But we can certainly figure some stuff out. Like I said,
Probably like there's some kind of dwarven miners.
yeah, I could go look into the dwarven section. Honestly, if you wanted to spec entirely into just hitting people with a pickaxe, it would be pretty viable. And it is fairly sickle-ish.
We've already got the fan art now. We're stuck.
It's okay. It's just a very strangely curved thing. No, I do that fan art is pretty special. I will say that's fancy. It's real fancy. I do like kind of the designation of Han's character as kind of vaguely resembling a large Muppet.
He does look like a large Muppet. It's great.
And there's something about Uzlu's character that really says, "Alcohol has ruined my life. I'm 23 years old."
No, I'm envisioning this character as the kind who just bumbles into winning everything when they're drunker.
There is something for there.
There is a monk class
yeah,
like a type that
drunken
literally can get so drunk they transcend time.
Man, that would save some time.
The
second character in the art here does look like the Monsters Inc. character. Was that intentional?
Something about the face on his character that just says, "Don't ask me, mate. I just work here."
I just woke up like this. Also, Sandrak is saying that things can still change and that they're waiting for input. Like more input and like look-wise.
If you could scale them down, at least for my character, to be of semi-average height and give him a face that resembles Bricktop, then he'd be pretty on point.
I was like, it is like that. This character is far too cheerful looking, with his sunken eyes and look of complete misery. I'm just making him like Bricktop, a man who looks like a bulldog licking piss off a nettle.
Yes. I'll post an example image in general for you, dude. There you go.
Jesus Christ, it's worse than I remember it being. Fucking hell. If I ran into that in a dark alley, I'd shoot myself.
Should I show it on the stream?
Yes.
Oh, God.
Actually, if you've got it on your sheet, I can...
I'll just open it. Ah, it's hidden. One moment. There we go.
That's the term, as greedy as a pig. Good times. I like how everyone, your character got like the nicest treatment out of all of them, and it's like, no, he doesn't.
No,
look as,
make it worse.
make him look considerably more fucked up, like he's been dragged into a back alley and beaten with sledgehammers for the majority of his life. Make him look like Steptoe on meth.
I like that my character looks like a Victorian muscle man in it from the circus.
Oh yeah.
Like a pugilist who took up like the cause.
Full-on costume too.
Well, you
I-
get pretty buff working in the bread mines, yeah?
Yeah.
Of course,
Have
you're
you,
not allowed to consume the carbs, and therefore the ketosis ripped through your body, rendering you down to just thick sinew.
Have you played an RP like this before, Mark, where you get to create your own character?
Yeah, but whenever I've played stuff like this, it's always just been just be cool and funny. Like the maths has been not my problem.
And
We'll try it, yeah.
how often have you played a character very similar to this?
So this is like based on the real me.
But how many
Oh.
of your characters are just like this?
All of them. Like I thought this would just be the best choice for this specific game, and
Oh, don't worry. I'm not questioning your party loyalty. No need to take it so stressfully.
Come on, bro.
We all did that one. Yeah, it's for the most part it is easy to like just once you get a good niche, you know.
That's true too. That's
So,
why
just so you know, like when you get into a new system like this is Pathfinder is nicknamed Mathfinder for a reason.
Yeah.
It's a bit
I-
granular, but it does give you lots of versatility.
And the other thing that's good about again putting it in through Roll20 is that you don't have to do any of the
Yeah.
math.
This is
like-
the math heaviest it will
So
ever
like
be.
for example, like I have my skills, and so if I just was here and Bill's like, okay, roll an acrobatics check, I would just click on acrobatics, and you see it does the math already and just rolls.
Train hard, play easy.
last
Yeah.
time
Math hell and then just press buttons. So.
Yes, that's the whole point of doing it through Roll20, so you don't have to do any math.
the last time that I played something like this, we used something like this where it was just like that. Like you can roll for whatever thing, it just does it on the screen. Ask me what it was though.
Okay, so we're pretty much good, I think. Uzle, we need to quickly run you through your class features. We do anything else? Because everyone else, I think, has their class features nailed down. Mark, we've just gone through yours, the smite boucherie, etc. Uzle.
Yes.
Okay. In the configuration menu on yours, I think, is...
Not seeing feats on there.
So no, sorry,
Feats
in
or
additional, in features
Yeah.
and traits. Feats we'll sort out later. Equipment we will do randomly, and I shall tell you. We'll tell you during the week what the total salvage will be for the party, and you have to divide amongst yourselves. But here we go. For your features, the swashbuckler has, and I'm going to go with a regular non-archetyped swashbuckler for simplicity. We can switch things out later on if you so desire. You get swashbuckler finesse.
Is this in
Swashbuckler.
features and traits?
Yes.
Feel like I'm doing a job application. Swashbuckler's finesse, yeah?
Because everyone gets weapon finesse innately. Yours will allow you to use charisma in place of intelligence to qualify for combat feats.
Works well in real life.
And also, because you have weapon finesse already from the Elephant in the Room rules, which is just you get it because you have a base attack bonus of +1, you will get an additional bonus combat feat of your choosing. So you will be looking at 3 feats to choose from during the week.
That'll be nice and easy. I think you said that there was only 6 of them to choose from, so it'll be nice and easy to pick 3 out of the 6. Oh no, I'm thinking of something else. For feats, you said it was a few hundred, right?
Yeah, probably around a few thousand at this point.
Yeah.
Don't worry, we'll sort you out. Don't worry, there's only like 6 good ones.
But there are probably
you
thousands.
get a panache pool.
Is this another feature and trait?
Yep, panache. Your panache is equal to your charisma modifier.
Should I just put that in the description?
Yeah, so I think you've got... What was your charisma mod?
I can tell you. 3.
So it's 3 out of 3 at the minute. Oh, you almost forgot. In the feat section, everyone needs to do this. Add skill-focused geography, because it was something put forward by a paying customer. Do enjoy. So you get a +3 to geography skill. Okay, what was that? For, I believe next is deeds, which is like your last thing. You have
Did
3.
you mention +3 in geography?
Yes, everyone gets skill-focused geography,
Okay.
even if you do not qualify for it.
Of +1, right? Or +3 for...
On the
+3
skills
total,
thing.
as it is a feat, skill-focused geography.
Are we also adding that +3 onto knowledge geography on the skills page?
Yes.
Gotcha. Probably on the
We put that in the
miscellaneous.
misc column or the
Yes,
Yes,
ranks?
in the miscellaneous.
Got it.
Ranks is for the things you put in after
Yeah.
every level up.
Yeah, I assumed so.
If you're putting points in, that is. Have one entry called deeds, and I will copy paste the entry. Actually, wait, no, you should probably do. I'll copy paste these into the chat. You copy these across into 3 separate sections. We could do it as one, but it would be a bit leery at times. Here you go. Oh god, that's it. No, I don't want to pay Nitro. Good grief, no.
Is this another features and trait, or is there a different place to put deeds?
Deeds you can put in the features and traits section, yes. Here's the first one, Daring Do. Basically, it boils down to add a d6 to a skill roll. Here's Dodging Panache, which is a bit more wordy. And Opportune Parry and Riposte, which is a lot more autistic looking than that actually is.
And everyone that was saying this rule set is way too maths heavy, they clearly haven't seen how long these descriptions are.
Yeah.
I don't know why they really needed a fucking paragraph to describe if someone attacks you, you roll to attack as well. If you block them, you get to stab them.
Because they assume that the authors playing this game will not be able to understand, no, that's not how it works, even though you may be able to literally interpret it that way, so they had to put every single exception in the paragraph, and we all have to copy it in, because 1% of players can't handle intuiting things.
Honestly, you're fine to just put Daring. Once you hit the cog again, it'll collapse back down.
Yeah, I know.
I mean, I dumb it down a lot just for myself.
Yeah. Any text you want to rip out, be my guest. Just we all know pretty much what the score is in terms of the details of it.
Scores. That sounds like maths. Read. No more maths.
Amen to that. Okay, so you
Death by semantics.
precisely.
Yeah.
The bodily degrees. Okay. Weapon. Because you're because you have a extra reason. Essentially, equipment-wise, you'll be starting with the clothes on your back. We got some randomly rolled stuff. You are allowed to keep your cutlass because it is a specific backstory thing. Similar to how I would allow a gunslinger to keep his firearm. Essentially, everyone gets the clothes on their back, and if they so desire, they can have one weapon, or one main weapon, or 2 light weapons to wear upon their person.
Can I have a stone dagger?
You may.
Yay.
It's a sharpened rock. You can literally. There's a lot of them.
Good. I can make more.
Yes.
So I have lopping shears.
Yes.
There you denigrate the good work of nappers.
Thank you.
Thank you, Bill. Very cool.
Here comes the Pathfinder game. Here comes Han with his bolt cutters.
Well, isn't it like long gardening shears that you have? Like hedge shears?
Potentially.
So how much will you be enforcing? If you don't write it down, you don't have it.
Just don't take the piss. That's all. I like people to think about things like whether to keep it on the person. It's useful to have it all written down if it's something that you would realistically have.
Also, don't forget the
person.
fishing rod that was gifted
Oh, yes.
to us by
Everyone
the fishing
gets
god
a-
Cafe.
Cafe, everyone's favorite fishing enthusiast, has awarded everyone a fishing rod with the usual like reel and everything. It's all very fancy. So please do note down your fishing rod.
Oh, okay.
They are statted as weapons.
Oh, God.
I wouldn't suggest everyone spec into them, but it would be certainly a party gimmick. Everyone play fisherman.
Giving new meaning to the term fishing attack.
We all just like fish for the enemies. Drag them close into the bully circle.
Spare the rod, spoil the goblin.
Maneuver, block, and tackle. And I have pre-rolled your equipment, and good lord, there's some weird shit. I'll be awarding the hordes individually for the purposes of it. So, shall we? I believe you've got everything sorted out. Everything. All that's left is the feats and traits, which we'll have to do during the week. Am I missing anything? Am I being a Nimrod here? Am I missing anything obvious? Has anyone got any outstanding shit? Skills, feats? No, it's not feats. Skills, saves. Anything I've missed?
We're starting with no money, right?
That is correct. We'll be randomly rolling starting equipment because already people are going to have to worry about what feats they're getting. Worrying about equipment as well. I'd rather start you off on something simple and work you up to purchasing what stuff you'll want.
Instead of getting something that's like, oh, yeah, that's useful, thanks. There goes my money.
No money. No, we want to avoid the dreaded shopping episode. We already had the dreaded character creation episode.
Are we rolling for hit points or anything?
Max at level 1.
Okay.
And it'll be minimum half until level 3. And possibly higher. We'll be doing the level up on event milestones rather than XP.
Oh, I had a question. This race has base speed slow, so how does that change? What is that? I couldn't find good numbers on that.
Oh, average person has 30-foot movement speed. You only have 20.
Okay, thanks.
But I believe for most races that means that you're not slowed down by armor. I'm not sure if that's the case with the Oriad, because I know dwarves aren't slowed down. You're made of stone,
Yeah.
so if it doesn't mention it, yeah, you're just not slowed down by armor. Not that you'll be wearing very much armor. You're a guru, so moot
Won't even let
point.
me edit this.
I'm made of stone.
Yeah. You're a boulder. Like, you've got bigger things to worry about than wearing armor. You are made of fucking stone.
Yeah, I'm just wondering about what slow was numerically.
So, any other gubbins people need help with?
It's some stuff with my weird class, but again, you and I will talk about that.
Yeah. So that's sure. Okay.
And and I think I'm gonna go for the philosophy. I'm gonna do the Sin Eater.
No.
So
Do people? What I'm going to do is each person could you give me a roll of a. Do you want to roll to see which like crates you having to wash up on shore with, or do you want to just have it as like a group thing and you share it out amongst yourselves?
that'd be more fun to do the latter personally, but it's up to you guys.
I'm fine with either.
I like the sound of communal loot for the party.
I am all about the group sharing equally.
Sharing is caring.
So, Ulu, what will it be?
That's interesting you'd be asking me.
Well, it sounds like the group has decided, but
This isn't a democracy. If he wants to keep his shit separate, he can.
Well, I don't mind. In a party this small, sharing kind of makes sense. However, do we know each other?
We'll have to.
I suppose so. Are we? I mean, I don't mind if we are just going with you know each other, and that's it. That's all we need. I don't mind that. But
Might
just
be-
as long as we have that for sure at the beginning, then that would help.
Might have
What-
met on the
what were
same-
we doing
Might
that
have
we
been
all-
traveling on the same boat. Like,
That's what I was thinking,
I'll
yeah.
leave that completely laissez-faire. Like, you may do what you wish in terms of it. You can all have been on the same boat. You could be from separate boats and never met before.
We've had a boating accident during the Scallop Wars. There you go.
2 boats crashed.
5 boats crashed. We was all on a different boat.
All
There's
the
always that issue
crash-
in RPs of why is the party staying together, and it's always you're often a bit arbitrary. It's because the players are playing together. Obviously, you have to. So to whatever extent that has to be arbitrated, that's fine. But if we can make it work narratively plausibly, then that's ideal.
My character has daddy issues and she needs people to look after her. There we go. It was decided
Doing
last during the one shot. A nice player named Bird gave my character daddy issues, and I decided to keep it for her. So
Yeah, I have a thing where if you roll really catastrophically badly at a key point, you can sell a part of your backstory for a reroll. But someone in the people in the party bid to try and choose it, and whoever has the most like interesting or fucked up like reply, it becomes canon to your character.
yeah, Bird got
So
it and just immediately yelled daddy issues.
It was like not even a beat missed, like fucking laser point focus. True aimed.
Oh no.
Dead in
Ouch.
the water. Fucking that character, your character has been fucking
Oh yeah.
pinpointed.
I
Branded.
did then work, like, write a backstory actually for once around that. So,
Do people want me to list out the fucking dumb shit you rolled?
Yes.
For the, also, I gave you 6 entries, there's only 5 players, so could someone give me a... Does someone want to roll a d6 to pick which one you don't get? Or,
Yeah, sure.
or do I want to be kind?
Hey.
1. You do not get the first one.
what was in the first one then?
What you could have had? I'm just going to go through... You're going to get the trade goods in these ones. Currency does not survive this transit. An oil of mage armor. 2 potions. 1 scroll. An amphora of vinegar weighing 80 pounds.
Bruh.
Oh, damn.
Bag of nails. Bag of wheat. Bolt linen. 15 bottles of honey. Bottle of vinegar. 12 buckets. A cabinet. An entire cabinet.
Another
5
bottle of vinegar?
clay pitchers. a gold weather outfit, a flask of oil, an iron bar, a large cage, 5 pythons, a sack of, another sack of wheat, 13 scroll cases, a sewing needle, a sickle, small cask of
A
dried figs,
sickle?
small cask of wax, 18 small
Was this
glass
a
bottles.
modern shipping container?
Yeah, what?
I put into the system an average loot haul for level 1 encounter. It's actually a fairly good payout.
You can get a
Yeah.
cabinet from an encounter?
Yes, I've seen this. I put through an encounter once. It spat out 17 chariots.
Nice.
That's why I love this thing. I fucking so. Okay, so to round out the stream, let's go through the 5 remaining hordes, so I can finally sing you those watching to fucking sleep. Okay, I'll tell you what, we'll do our tune outs and then I'll read it off like a fucking ASMR video, shall we?
Mhm.
Okay. Those of you at home, I hope you enjoyed this character making session. I promise things will be a bit more upbeat in pace when we return to our intrepid heroes. We're sorting out scheduling, hoping for next week of Tuesday's time with you lot. Don't want to put you on the spot. We can always run bi-weekly if it doesn't sort them out. But we'll be seeing about scheduling going forward. There'll be announcements. Don't worry about it. So, before we launch into the diatribe, shall we take it from the top with our signings out?
Yeah, thanks, guys. Thank you all for showing up. Thank you, Mark. Thank you, Uzalu, and of course, Bill, Han, and Penny. I hope it was a fun experience. It can be a little boring to, obviously, it is just numbers and stuff at this point, and there's gonna be more because we're all gonna have to pick, a bunch of stuff. But again, Bill
Feats
will
and
talk
traits will
about
be.
feats and traits. which
We'll
will
do
take-
between here and the first episode.
Right. It'll take a while. But other than that, I think Bill, you were really informative. So and thanks everybody, viewers and everybody here in the party for showing up to the inaugural character creation. Look forward to seeing what happens with this strange lot of characters.
Muck?
Yeah, hello. Yeah, I'm very much looking forward to next week already. I learned a lot. It's gonna be fun. Yeah. Cool. Thanks for having me on.
Absolute pleasure, Mike.
I mean,
Ah.
and you guys know a lot of interesting characters. The fact that you picked me out of all of them is really touching. So, thanks.
Oh, I thought it'd be just a fun time to get people from all around the internet together. That was kind of the idea. And yeah, thanks for for showing up. And I'm looking forward to it as well. So we'll have to see what we get up to.
Yeah. Can't wait to lug a fucking cabinet around for the next
Don't worry, the cabinet was on the loot list you didn't get. The actual one's
okay.
coming there
Yeah.
year after.
Let's
The one we
see.
lost.
Maybe there'll be another cabinet. Never.
No, not the cabinet. That's what I really always wanted.
Unfortunately, we can only afford the shadow cabinet due to the votes we got this year.
I think Mark really wants to get in it.
Oh
This-
no!
I've got-
Don't go into the closet.
Don't
Just
make
came
it-
out.
I was expecting you were going for the
The
thick of it,
Wayfair-
Jack.
I thought it was a Wayfair cabinet joke.
Oh! We went for different, incredibly dark.
Everybody went to a different dark place.
Cabinets in a nutshell. Hun?
Well, thank you everybody for attending today's math and law class. Try not to overdose on Ritalin afterwards.
You golden? Penny, you're up.
Thank you, everyone that also showed up, everyone that put in super chats. I'll be sure
Yes,
to
thank you, guys.
update things on the Discord server we have. If you don't know, it will be in the description, a link, you can join. There you can
Oh,
harass us as well, I suppose.
yes. And speaking of harassing, and again, thank you so much for everybody who donated today. But we do have a local sort of rule that we've been doing for a long time now, which is that if you want to make the player suffer, $20 for a minor curse, $50 for a major curse if you really want to.
If you really dislike one player's character, well...
Or just want to do something weird if you think would be fun. Of course, a lot. And if you have any questions about wanting to do something like that, but you don't know if it would be cool, because there's some things, of course, that, you know, are kind of outside of, like, you really can't just be like, well, I can't stand Uzalu's character, so he dies. Not like that, right? But if you have a question...
I'm sure that was picked at random.
If you also want to do something that's like a surprise, you can always, of course, go to that Discord link. Bill will be on there, because we've had things before of being kind of like secret purses or whatever, if you'd like to do it that way, or whatever. But it's just an option, as that way people can pay coin to influence the plot, right? If you feel so inclined.
It has always worked swimmingly in the past.
It's produced some really, interesting results.
The last time we did it, it worked out well enough that I think we nearly got Rags to cry with anger, which, as far as I'm concerned, is a win.
He got really pretty fired up about that. Yeah.
Everyone else was in absolute ecstasy. It was great.
If you don't do the Neutronium Maxim thing, we should be alright.
I'm not aware of what that is. Oh no.
Bill probably knows. Sounds like he does.
I don't know a few things that made a Neutronium that show up in certain books.
No, the Neutronium Maxim was a specific thing that happened in Archer's Vampires campaign. It's years ago now, but it comes up because it's an example of... It was actually an inspiration for me to run my own campaigns, and I'm so glad I did, because it was so badly handled. There was this gun that he just would not let us pick up. It was an in-place machine gun, but we had superhuman strength. So we could have used it like it was a standard rifle. And he just kept saying no. He didn't give us a reason, just said no.
Maxims are started in this system if you want one.
Yeah, so
find one, grab one.
Yeah,
Smoking
the
the
problem
bottom.
was, he just said no. He didn't give us a reason, and that inspired me. That, you know, surely one can do better, and then one did. That's when I ran Wizards in Space, and all the other rule sets I've seen since then have inspired me similarly. That surely one can do better, and one has.
Inspired out of sheer frustration. Understandable.
Well,
Inspired by spite.
oh, don't worry, you're
And
about
disgust.
this
It's
game will
powerful.
inspire you to fucking death, then.
There
Because
will be plenty to go around.
Yeah, this system has a lot of fucking edges to file down. Let me tell you. Usually, would you like any last words to the fine people before we launch into the autistic diatribe that is the loot list?
I'd like to thank you all for attempting to contain my enormous ego. I can only apologise that the attempt failed. I do political streams, and you can find my community, which is very active, and there's links in the description. There you go. You shilled on my channel, Aiden. I've shilled on yours, even though you did shill a sponsor, which I'm not doing here.
Wait, which sponsor did I show? I don't remember.
Several different VPNs.
Yeah, I did. Oh, right.
Always roll your own.
She does it in real life.
She did that on my channel as well.
I know.
Well, you ain't doing it here because I have server mute privileges. They ain't getting a fucking... She ain't getting a word into that shit before I get paid.
Seen, not heard.
And on that note, I've been Deep Bill. I've been your DM for this evening and for the future. Hope to see you all again next week. I hope you had a fantastic time, as I did running this shit. I hope for many years of this going forward. At the very least, until I get hopefully headhunted by someone who needs a DM. In any case, let us launch in to the SMR section of the video, which is the loot list, as I unmute Aiden, and if so help me God, if she says a word about a single sponsor, I'm pulling the router's cord out.
No, I just wanted to say that one last thing. There are links to Uzalu and Kami Mark's channels in the description. That's what I was trying to say, you dick. There you go.
Buy Wizard VPN today. Enter promo code FAGDIC to get 20,000% on.
Excellent.
I'm sorry, I'm sticking to spiffing Brit's VPN. He gives me 3 boxes of tea. I'm trying.
I can understand that.
VPN? Is that it?
No, okay.
Quick, she mentioned VPN's meter.
No, I said, is it called TPN? Never mind.
No, everyone sandbag that one. Okay. Time for the hordes. Okay, very first, which is horde number 2 because we got rid of horde number 1. Who would like to be official note taker for this because you're going to need it?
Oh, yeah, I got a notepad up, alright.
Okay, okay. I'm not going to give precise. Which I will actually give values. 1, a scroll case carved from ivory. 1 potion. Unmarked. 1 scroll. You can't read it neatly.
Mhm.
The salvage is a bag of marbles.
Well, we've lost ours already, so...
12 bags of chalk. A barrel of ale
Ooh.
weighing 240 pounds.
Great.
So,
More the merrier.
6 bottles of honey. 5 bottles of vinegar. So my error there. It's a bottle of vinegar.
Hmm.
Not 5. A box of firewood. A fishing net.
Mhm.
1 loaf of bread, miraculously dry.
Yes.
There's the bread.
LGBT achieved. A pair of manacles.
Ooh, woo.
13 pitchforks.
Nice.
Well,
Awesome.
it
You
sounds
see
like
what I mean? That occasionally you get into the weird shit.
It sounds like it's time for a party.
This is bullshit. 15 racks of firewood. This is just setting commie markup for his fucking revolution. I just see that writing on the wall.
Pitchforks and lots of firewood.
It gets weirder. It gets weirder. A riding saddle.
Mhm.
A sack of animal feed, weighing 50 pounds. A sewing needle. 1 small cask of oil containing 5 doses.
Okay.
8 small metal boxes.
Mhm.
1 wagon currently sunk.
Oh. Well. Could always try to unsink it, I guess.
How large is the wagon?
Yeah.
Light.
Ah,
Okay.
400
still
pounds
pretty
in weight.
sizable.
Light.
Another oil glowing. Because you have a caster in the party, I'm just going to take you this one. A potion of stabilize. Perhaps the most pointless potion
Yeah.
this side of Featherfall. 2 scrolls.
Mhm.
1 anvil. Currently sunk.
Dibs.
1 armchair. Sodden but floating. 1 backpack.
Hey, we can use the armchair for psychology, Aiden.
Hey, there you go.
Just become armchair psychiatrist. That was
Yeah.
cool.
It's got the backpack. We have a bag of 10 pitons. Pitons are these climbing spikes.
Oh, yeah.
1 bag of spices.
Dibs.
Upon.
It appears to
Yeah.
be regular kitchen spice mix.
But still,
kitchen,
that's
kitchen pepper.
The
that's
Dutchie's
the
happy.
Dutch-
This is in a
I knew
little-
these were going to be spicy streams.
It's already
a
got.
basket.
Ooh.
Woven by the finest Mongolian basket weavers.
On the finest Mongolian, yeah. basket
1
weavers.
bow saw.
Bow saw or bone saw?
Bow,
Bone
as in the
saw
long
is
bow.
great.
Bow is in an arrow.
Gotcha.
B-O-W.
Nice.
11 boxes of arrowheads. A score each. 9 more boxes of firewood.
Oh my my god!
You're just gonna be able to build a fucking bridge off this island.
Yeah.
Exactly what this was.
Went on the firewood.
I'm just assuming this is just the remains of the ship at this point.
I
We
guess.
arrive, we leave.
Arrive.
Just run fast, paste fucking.
It's just I know this is
Credits.
a reference for most people, but you know what it reminds me of, Bill, is of course that video of oh shoot, what's his name? I can't think of it. Bro Team Pill, when he played as the Canadian fire starter. Where from the time he dropped out of school when he was 13, so that he could just chop down trees and sell them as firewood. And then he would go around and set fires to make sure to eliminate all the competition.
I'll get
That
better.
video.
2 cheap wigs.
Oh, wigs is in W-I-G or W-H-I-G?
WIG. You can't afford the other. 18 chisels. So an industrial box of chisels.
Yeah, I was concerned we wouldn't have enough to go around.
2 clay pitchers. They survived.
Mhm.
Weirdly. 10 crowbars.
Man, the party's gonna have to fight for this loot.
I will say that you're only going to get the first 2 hordes. Oh no, this is just the first. Shit. Oh, no,
Yeah.
this is the second. This is the second.
But guys,
Okay,
what
okay,
if
okay.
9 crowbars break? Good thing we have 10.
Exactly.
Exactly.
A fishing net.
Wait.
Oh, it's actually 2 then, I'll just put that. I'll fix the numbers later.
A 10-foot ladder.
Are you sure it wasn't 37 10-foot ladders that we can ladder our way off the island with?
We just go up into the sky.
I'm regretting this decision already.
Bill, are there any siege weapons in that pile? By any
Not
chance?
yet, but there are a pair of shears coming up.
If we stack these ladders up, are we going to all end up speaking different languages suddenly?
It's only what?
We all fall
Yeah.
down.
It's only a 10-foot ladder. It's not that high.
Reach to the
Not getting
heavens.
babbled. That said, 12 lamps. No.
Is it
so you
lamps?
got
Are they
12
like
oil-
lanterns?
oil lamp, yeah.
Says
Oh,
that's
okay,
it.
so like a
Declares
magic
12
lantern.
more lamps.
5
How many more is going to fall out your pockets before you're done?
5 pairs of dice.
Well,
So
we'll
10
need
dice
those.
total. So enough to play this game. In a meta sense.
Wait.
1 rake,
In what sense?
as in the gardening implement, not a
Rake?
fucking cryptid.
No, I mean,
Nor is it some
oh,
wastrel.
Yeah,
It's not a random sailor that you've just found.
Yeah, there's a you know, sailor there. He's a rake.
The sailor that got like forgotten.
No, stop
Below
talking.
deck.
Stop talking about fucking
We are
December.
nearing the point here where there's more loot than a ship could carry.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm- maybe
I'll
it
stick
was a
to
pretty
2.
big
I
ship.
forgot how freakishly fucking many these always. Okay.
Must have been a big ship, I guess. At least to carry the animal.
A pack of 14 sewing needles.
Yeah, I can imagine
That's more
the
normal.
average level 1 encounter against some goblins. You kill the last one, it just explodes into fucking
Oh, yeah.
3 galleons worth of random cargo.
Yeah, you just up the loot rate, like
We have basically
percentage-wise.
washed ashore with a freight container.
Man,
Why?
these goblins are really good at keystering catapults. I don't know how they do it.
Why do they have 13
A-
pitchforks?
A pair of shears.
Well,
Dibs.
did we fall off the fucking evergreen as it ruined itself? And this is the cargo containers that also fell off.
I guess so.
I think we could literally
Again-
just start a garden like a fucking farm. We just need
That's
animals
1
now.
signet ring
Hmm.
and a glass rod. Small glass rod, like you'd use from like a chemistry kit. Oh, thank fuck, we stopped here. The shit gets weird after this one.
God.
It
Okay,
gets
I'm gonna have a
weird.
look. I'm gonna have a quick look through and so you got some real standouts. The 36 bags of chalk,
Yes.
14 grappling hooks, a pack of 5 signet rings, more firewood, a cauldron, a pair of tongs, 6 wedges of cheese, 41 sledges.
We miss out on cheese. Damn.
No.
This is like
Need them
this is like the
funds.
average Skyrim kleptomaniac's house, just filled
Yeah.
with all these physics objects distributed about.
Pretty much.
He's seen using the duplication cheat. Someone like dropped the wrong item. He accidentally hit a watermelon with an arrow, and now it's filling every single facet of the fucking room.
He was trying to give himself 1 cheese wheel to complete a quest that got bugged, but he accidentally typed and some extra 9s into that quantity.
Yeah.
Okay, let's see what else we should
Maybe
use.
we just all nudged into plates the wrong way, clipped through the map, and then fell into the ocean.
As soon as the campaign starts, we're going to die because of all these objects being stuck in the same place, physics resolving into our heads.
They just all drop on top of us.
It's like a fucking flechette mine going off. Okay, 20 casks of wax is another banger, and that was pretty much
Ooh,
it.
nice.
It was actually fairly normal thereafter. Oh, I forgot the bookcase.
Oh, right.
Missed that one the first.
Oh.
And the desk. There's just an entire fucking office that is in like Horde 5. A bench, a bookcase, a cauldron, a desk, an iron pot, 17 sewing needles, and 41 sledges. Horde 5 is a fucking disaster. Let's just stick to Horde 1 and 2 and be glad. Sorry. Hordes 2 and 3, and be glad you're getting that bloody many. I should have just stuck to 1. This was, by the way, the result of an encounter. This is one level 1 encounter's worth of loot. Bullshit, donjon.thing.sh. That is not one encounter. That's a fucking freight container.
If this was a video game, I would actually think that it was bugged. Are you sure? I mean, I know I'm asking the expert, but are you sure that's right?
Yeah, but Donjon routinely does shit like this. It's kind of why I like it, but I keep forgetting quite how aggressive it is.
The only issue I'm seeing, like, I'm not rejecting free stuff, but the only issue I'm seeing is we're going to spend longer trying to decide what to do with all this crap than it's so long and we won't actually play the game.
Well, most of it you can just abandon. The only things that, like, the things that stand out, take the arrowheads, you know, obviously take the wigs.
Oh god, it's starting!
You gotta get dripped out somehow, okay?
Exactly, gotta get dripped out.
The autistic
I'll take the
optimizing has
other
begun.
wig.
We all signed off, guys!
I'll take the
Obviously-
wig for my frog.
Oh, yeah.
Look at the frog.
Slay! Slay
Yes,
queen!
queen.
Here's the frog. What do he do?
What do you do? Obviously, you gotta take the bread.
The 13
Here's the things
pitchforks
on
are really what gets me.
Wait, which the
I'm-
13 pitchforks? Yeah, again, the pitchforks and all the firewood. That sounds like wherever.
Also, because
this-
of how fucked the. I would
going.
say this. I'm going to be changing the prices of shit, and it'll be regional, because the idea that a pitchfork costs 2 gold pieces, which is like more than a fucking surf makes in a year, is hilarious.
What-
Man,
how-
inflation do be hitting hard.
Yeah, we are negative 1 second into this campaign and inflation's already changing everything.
It's always sunny in the Weimar
Oh,
Republic.
great.
Jesus Christ! Like,
How
who the
can a
fuck?
pitchfork be worth 10 gold pieces? That makes no sense.
It's 2, but still, that's still a lot. Manacles are 15 gold pieces natively. I'm just gonna say most of this shit is kind of fucked up from the ocean. Like, I'm probably not gonna want you to. You're probably not gonna want to have to drag 50 pounds of animal feed out of the surf.
Yeah, true.
Like the sealed
That's
bottles and
like
casks are one
some of the
thing, but like I'm
Heavier
thinking,
things. Yeah.
I'm thinking the majority of the foodstuffs are kind of gone the way of the fucking dodo.
I mean, we can at least open the animal feed and just throw it on the beach. Have animals have at it.
For the birds.
Yes.
Yes.
Don't even
Then
get
we'll
me
kill them
started
when
on
they
the
land.
pigeons in the backyard that I keep feeding.
We can get 3 at once on the pitchfork,
Yeah.
and then cook them like marshmallows over a campfire.
That's true. You
I
could
do know all the
that.
lyrics to "Poisoning Pigeons in the Park" by Tom Lehrer.
Pigeons
I
are free in the
Also,
park.
the armchair's
you
the
can just take
MVP
'em.
here.
I was thinking about making a double-ended pitchfork.
There you go.
Before.
Yeah. Use a.
A farming
nail?
Darth Maul.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Not
twice the
all
efficiency.
Pitchfork nunchucks.
Remember, no kulaks.
Oh,
Like, I haven't even begun the decolonization. Watch this.
I mean, look, we do have all the farmers' gear, but no farmers at all. This is a perfect setup for a society that produces bread.
I just love the idea of the entire. I should not have given you any access to weapons. Just made you all go out into the world with a pack of 10 crowbars between you. Every single person dual wielding crowbars.
It's called.
I
the-
opted for a crowbar in a campaign that we almost started once. In fact, my profile picture has a crowbar in it because this profile picture is based on that campaign.
It was foretold.
I'm
Oh, wow.
keeping one of those crowbars. You can't stop. I'm picking the best one too. You can't stop me.
Yeah, take a crowbar.
You've
Hey,
got crowbars, you've got an anvil, all you need is you've got a bunch of firewood. You could technically, if someone had the right skills, start forging weapons just on the beach.
I'm
We
gonna
just
call dibs
melt
on
the
anvil.
crowbars down. The pitchfork.
We can use
spikes.
the bookcase for firewood. I mean, we could
There's
use the
no-
firewood,
We got
granted, but
firewood.
that's less fun.
Yeah,
That'd be the bookcase
It's a
as
lot
part
less
of the
fun.
later ones that I was
Yeah,
just rattling off.
yeah, there's-
As a,
I
just to
posted,
show how fuck they are. This is better than the time I got someone got rolled nothing but 47 bed rolls.
well, at least you'll be
It was-
comfy.
I'd like to say it was basically just a
You rolled-
bouncy castle by the end of the
I was
week.
gonna say, if you roll 47 bedrolls, you have to make a
Okay.
big comfy fort, obviously, as your base.
Exactly.
Hello fort, mattress fort. It's impenetrable. I did post, if you look in the back rooms, there's now a loot channel. I just made it. Everyone should have access to it. And I just posted all the crap in there. If there's anything that...
We can use the armchair.
It won't really matter. I mean, it's a bit waterlogged, but it'll be fine. It doesn't really matter so much right now because most of this is literal garbage, but, you know, in the future.
Don't forget, one of the spells that the witch does have access to is prestidigitation.
Yeah.
One of the harder to pronounce ones, certainly, but that can instantly dry things.
Mhm.
It won't necessarily help some of the foodstuffs, which are waterlogged, but it will clean up the armchair.
I believe that was the one thing I skimped out on because I was like, well, why would I want to change the taste of food?
Oh, prestidigitation is one of the most versatile and useful cantrips.
You got several fishing nets, and several. A pitchfork is a trident that doesn't.
Yeah, there you
needs a bit of
go.
effort, you know.
Where did you get a trident?
I don't know.
Pitchfork,
know.
trident, what's the difference anyway?
Yeah, it was more or less the same.
I mean, like,
thing.
if the pitchforks are in water as they are now, do they not become tridents?
Pretty much. Again, we have
Pitchfork.
to ask Amber Heard. She would be the
No,
expert.
it
Don't pitchforks have 4 prongs? I
No,
think that's
3.
the word.
Mhm.
3 or
I
4.
think it
Exactly
varies.
what I was about to
Yes,
say.
they're- tridents are specifically 3. Pitchforks can have 4 or 5 sometimes. And fishing tridents can have more than 3.
We can use the crowbars to snap off the extraneous ones.
There you go.
I like the idea of everyone before battle just lobbing pitchforks at the enemy.
Like the world's most
Like
bootleg,
Romans.
like Roman unit.
Yeah.
Also, the idea that everyone's armed with crowbars just makes it seem like a Gmod server.
So the mental image of a bunch of Roman legionnaires with crowbars is kind of nightmarish.
It's just prop hunt we're playing now.
Right.
When will the Hague make prop blocking a war crime?
It's TTT, but everyone else is the imposter.
Dun, dun,
John Traitor.
dun, 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 dun. I hate myself.
We
What's
can
up,
use
man?
the bow saw, just take one side each and just run at the enemy and cut them in half.
Just use the chisels like throwing knives. Just so you've got 18 throwing chisels. You could throw a chisel a good way. It's really front heavy, so it flies like a
Yeah,
bug.
it's pretty heavy, isn't it? Like, it's gonna hurt if a bunk share.
Bag of marbles is always great, and the barrel of ale always goes up down well.
Hey, that's the most important thing. It's too bad it weighs 240 pounds. So,
By the way, to show how fucked this shit is, a 240-pound barrel of ale costs 6 gold pieces, the same price as 3 pitchforks.
I can't believe the pitchforks are that much.
Like the trade goods are all so cheap, and everything else is so expensive.
I have no idea what the.
I
mean,
guess because
what's
they
the,
need to be made?
What's the?
the
If
way-
you were to use a pitchfork as a weapon, what's the
Pitchforks
fucking
in these days were like
stats
mostly made
on
of
it?
wood.
Well, what's the stats on a pitchfork as a
Just
weapon?
a trident, but shit.
Yeah, I know. It's a shitty trident. So why is it 2 gold pieces? So I mean, I'm honestly like now I'm curious as to what the stats
You
are.
could
on
get
it.
the
If
same.
it-
You could unironically
Cool.
get the same results as the pitchfork by just sharpening a ladder and it'd be a gold piece cheaper.
Well, we've got a
We
10-foot ladder. See?
We're just gonna run at people together with like 10-foot ladder.
You laugh. That happened to Dankula. He was at a street brawl with some people, and he thought to himself, "What kind of a wanker brings a stepladder to a fight?" And then he wakes up in hospital, chained to the fucking bed.
It's a big deal in a Stormlight Archive. Essentially, they just run around with a big ladder and they throw it across a giant ravine so the armies can move
Okay,
across.
I'm about to. This is a call-out post. Pathfinder, gnomish battle ladder.
Oh hell yeah!
I'm not joking. This is a thing. It's essentially just a kind of a trip version of the
Sounds
quarterstave, so it's not great, but still. Yeah, this is officially the fucking meandering fucking weirdo shit era. But look at this shit. Gnomish battle ladder. It's an exotic weapon for some reason.
Well, it is exotic.
That said, there's a feat called called item trick. You can take for certain items, like some lets you taking it for tanglefoot bags that you glue things together, or using it on a lantern lets you lob it like a bomb. There is one for the ladder, and it's the most hilariously broken shit in the world. It lets you add the height of a ladder to your jump. So most people think, oh, they're using it like a pole vault. No, in my mind, you are running up to someone and just rail cannon accelerating yourself up the ladder, as far as I'm concerned.
I imagined it as you jump, and then at the height of your jump, just pull out a ladder and then quickly run up it.
Yeah,
you
it works.
trickster your way up the fucking ladder. I like that.
More or less.
I'd say that works too.
I mean, that'd be pretty cool. Anywho, I think we got the loot. I think we're good for this week. Bill will reach out to everybody, or essentially to take care of the more complicated stuff where it's like, oh, have you posted the links to everybody so that they can see the feats and stuff? If you want to go through them, Mark and Nuzulu, my suggestion would be to just kind of ask Bill, because there are like 1,000 of them plus.
Here are the combat feats alone.
You'll see what I mean if you go to these pages. It's sickening. It's a really disgusting amount of shit.
Best to throw just a rough idea at Bill, and he'll probably know a feat that will do what you want.
Let me know.
That's usually my go-to.
Or if he doesn't, he'll ask Han or Gran or somebody else.
It's like, this is something to do with magic. And you guys have got any ideas? Oh yeah, here it is.
If the ruleset's going to have amorphous modifications to gameplay, you either have to make it up on the spot with the player, which requires knowledge of the rule set, or you have to have massive lists like this. So there might not be a way of solving it other than having a GM who knows which ones are good and can recommend a short list, which might be what I'd recommend.
That would be Bill, pretty much.
Indeed.
So, luckily, and if not him, then again, Han or Gren or Doom or somebody else.
But so if I do not know of a specific feat, then chances are it's something that's come out since I stopped giving a shit, and I will have someone on staff who has been keeping up with the.
We have a lot of DMs besides Bill, or GMs, whichever one you like.
Also accounts for the time I'm asleep or at work.
Right.
A diverse group of people across the autistic spectrum.
Precisely.
It's a beautiful rainbow. Autism. Anywho, I think with that, we'll leave you for the evening.
Yeah.